Hello and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are the Yerky Boys. This is season 1, episode 12 of the Animorphs TV show, The Stranger.
Wow.
I hope you're excited for it.
This one aired November 24th, 1998. Just shut the fuck up.
I'm going with 13th. I'm going with 13th on this one.
Fuck that. Just fuck off. I don't want to hear an argument. I don't want to hear another date or a website. It aired on the 24th.
I got more sources that say 13th, and that also puts it in airing order, whereas 24th would put it out of order.
Good.
Like a different order than the one that we did.
Good.
So that's what it is. It's the 13th.
The 24th.
So, I mean, the listeners know what it is.
Listeners can fucking suck my dick. I don't give a fuck what they think.
You don't? Did they think anything this week, or are we back to no thoughts?
Well, most of them, as usual, what went through their heads this week was, what do I?
Is that right? I'm sorry, he's in a mood today. I don't know what's gotten into him.
Christmas! I hope there's more Animorphs this week.
He's just in a bad mood. He had to see his family, you know.
Shut the fuck up.
He gets like this sometimes. I apologize for his behavior.
Will was late today, as usual. What else is new?
It wasn't my fault.
Fucking late. Yes, it was. It was, and it always is.
I didn't do anything wrong. Anyway.
Do you want to hear a fucking email?
I do.
Maybe that'll brighten your day.
I do. It's going to brighten me right up. The sharing.
Thanks for listening, everyone. You can always write an email into us at theyerkyboys@gmail.com. This week, we heard from one of our special best friends.
Wow.
Gwen.
Oh, shit. That's not even a
great reaction. Right. Sure. Yeah. Very genuine. We all believed it. That you were excited.
It's different. That's exciting.
Gwen writes, "Hello, Yerky Boys. Hope your holidays are going well. This is my first time watching the Animorphs TV show. And also my first time watching anything along with a podcast. Despite that, it's a surprisingly nostalgic experience for me. When I was young, renting a movie was one of the most exciting things to get to do, even though in practice about a third of the movies were low budget and lame. And Anna TV," that's the little abbreviation in case it's too much work to write out Animorphs TV show, so we've got Anna TV.
I get it.
Okay. Anna TV is low budget and lame in those same ways. The heavy use of shadow and backlighting to disguise the boring blocking. The heavy use of forest and industrial locations to disguise the lack of sets. The heavy use of quick cuts to disguise the bad fight scenes. Even the surprisingly good techno soundtrack. It all brings back fond memories of childhood, in the same way Coming Soon to Own on DVD and video does. So here's my take. Ready for the take?
I'm ready for a take.
No qualifications are given, so it's up to us to determine if this is a hot take or a cold take. Here's the take. Everyone agrees that the platonic ideal of an Animorphs TV show is an R-rated animation, right? But if Animorphs has to be bad, this is the best way for it to be bad. It's so easy to imagine a bland Power Rangers or Street Sharks type of writing, where the audience is treated with outright contempt. At least Anna TV seems like they were trying their best with what they had. At least Anna TV is able to vaguely gesture at the book themes. At least they're actually willing to mention the concepts of death and mind control with appropriate gravitas. I also really like that one shot with the butterflies. I'd go so far as to call it thematic, since butterflies symbolize change and rebirth, and this is the first time we've seen all 6 Animorphs morph together. By the way, in TV intro sequences, it's pretty standard to insert quick clips of character moments for each character, right? Actually, the word written here is characterful moments, which I thought was a typo, but now I think was intentional.
Yeah, characterful.
Like in the original TMNT, you see Donatello working on a machine, you see Leonardo taking point, etc. It's kind of weird how in the Animorphs intro sequence, they just stare into the camera for a second. Yours, Gwen. Gwen is ours?
Ours. Damn. I was going to say I'm not going to be excited by Gwen emails anymore because now they're normal, but I don't know if Gwen is ours. Because all of our other listeners say bullshit like you're my third favorite Animorphs podcast.
That's Gwen.
That is Gwen? Shit.
that's
Never mind.
Gwen.
Where do you get off saying that you're ours? Fuck you. I thought that was somebody else. I get confused.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I understand because I'm the one who's actually looking at them with my eyes, so
Right.
it's easier for me to remember. Yeah. Do you think it's maybe Gwen Stacy?
Why would I think that?
I don't know. Who else is named Gwen? There aren't that many people.
Well, what about from the well-known comic strip Intelligent Life? Could be. It could be.
Everyone just gloss past that one. Don't worry about that.
You're better off not knowing what the fuck I'm talking about.
I mean, could be Gwen Poole, I suppose. Anyway, let's see. Let's tackle this one at a time. So yeah. We now have confirmed 2 people who are actually watching the show along with us.
Yeah, so that's fun.
I'm sorry for you, all of you. I think I kind of agree with some of the how this show is kind of nostalgic in the sense that it is very of the time of the sort of bad TV I watched a lot of as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with the take. I think the thing is that the show, there's enough Animorphs DNA in this show that even as watered down as it may be compared to the books, the foundation of those themes and ideas that they are still staying fairly true to some extent at least, those themes are still more interesting and worth exploring than most other kids shows of this era were capable of. So even at its, it's like even diluted.
Mm-hmm.
You water down a beer, it's still gonna be preferable if all your other options are just water.
Is it? I like water.
Yeah. Fuck you. You're a fucking nerd.
Beer's yucky.
Shut the fuck up.
No,
you're a loser.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say because, like, on the one hand, that might be true, but like, I don't know. There is a part of me that, listen, Street Sharks, I remember it ruling. I haven't seen it, but I remember it ruling.
Fuck up. No.
The thing is, there's a part of me that wonders, like, if Animorphs is going to be bad, I prefer it more if it did go just all the way in on, not touching on any of that at all. On the other hand, so much of the series is about, K.A. Applegate wrote that whole thing at the end that's like, real life isn't like fucking action movie kid G.I. Joe shit. If it was like that, I don't know, would I like it better than a bad version of actually exploring the themes in it? I might, just because then I wouldn't constantly be saying, oh, you made a vague gesture toward this, but you didn't do it, and so now I'm unhappy. Would I almost rather not see the gesture? I don't know.
That might make you like it more as its own entity, but I don't think it would make you like it more as an Animorphs adaptation.
I guess that's fair. I guess that is fair. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's a difficult question.
Well, it's easy for me. I answered it.
It's hard for me to say because there are certainly parts here where I'm like, yeah, I get. There are parts here where I'm just like, I wish this was like better in a worse way, or like I would take this being cheesier or campier or dumb and shitty. I don't know. Like, I don't know that I agree this is the perfect version of a bad version of Animorphs.
Yeah, they say it's the best
The
way for it to
best,
be bad.
the best bad, yeah.
I do think, I think a lot of it is if you hadn't read those books,
hmm
which is just, I mean, we can't separate ourselves from those books,
Yeah,
and honestly, I don't know if any kid could when
yeah.
this aired.
And as we've been saying, I don't know that you're supposed to. Like, the show does not, it's not accessible to kids who didn't read the books.
But if you are able to separate, like how these things are explored more thoroughly in the books,
hmm
and just look at it and just compare it to other shows of the time, I do think it is attempting something more interesting than most other kids shows of the era. Just again, just because it's like even when you do it shitty, it's like those themes are strong enough in the book that they still come through a little bit. And for us watching it, it's like we already spent 100 hours discussing those themes, so
hmm
there's not like anything for us to chew on there anymore. So it's kind of just like, yeah, that's that thing about, mind control and slavery and free will and war and shit. Like, whatever, move on.
hmm
We've done it. But like, it is sort of novel for the time, I suppose. I don't know. I think the take is good.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad take. I
Yeah,
don't
you
know
do.
if I like immediately agree with it. Because I think a big part of those themes being there is, as she said in the email, like the gravitas of it, because like these
I
ideas
don't. Yeah,
of war
yeah.
and mind control and all of that, like you can't say that that's not a part of like Power Rangers. It absolutely is. The difference is just like what is the tone with which it deals with it? Is it just silly and campy, or does it take it as seriously as it should? And in the show, it feels like it it wants you to think that it's taking it seriously. Absolutely, it has that tone to it. So that is different and good and in line with the books. But if you don't back it up with actually dealing with it, because this is the bad version of Animorphs, like I don't know, is that good enough?
The good version of Animorphs is Vegamorphs, right?
Right. The good version of Animorphs, I suppose, it seems as though
Is
everyone 100%
Humanimorphs?
agrees is the animated R rated version, right? You would agree with that.
Right.
We would all agree with that.
I I well, we'll talk about that in a
Yeah,
later
yeah.
episode.
Okay, okay.
I'm fine with that for now. I
Okay.
can accept that for now. Yeah, I don't know that
Mhm.
yeah, I do. I think that if I was a kid, I think I would be like, oh, this is a very serious show. I do
Mhm.
think I think that it has not we've talked about this before, I think, but what else? What are we gonna do? We gotta talk about this fucking show for like 20 episodes. Give us a break. But um, I do think a lot of the things that hurt this show is simply that it's not aged as well and that we're older.
Mhm.
And I think for me as a kid in the 90s, I would be going, yeah, this is totally serious and like taking these themes as seriously as the books do. Even if all the pieces aren't there, in my head as a kid, I would fill in those blanks and I would be like, yeah, this works for me.
Yeah.
I get um I don't know. But
Yeah,
I can't remember
100%. And
watching it as a kid.
I mean,
So,
there's also just the element of like, you know, you look at any medium, and most of it is like fine. Most of it's generic in the middle. But like as an adult, if I think about kids shows, I think about
which
really
you do a
good kid
lot.
shows, because like why am I, I'm not going to go around and be like, "Oh, I'll just watch all the kid shows." It's kind of like, "Oh, remember this one that was like the best one you ever saw?" Yeah, I think about that one sometimes. And so I can't help but compare this to like, top of its class things. If I was a kid watching a lot of kids TV, then maybe it would, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's fine."
You're a guy whose boss baby is something that's really good.
Right. It's a selection bias. Well,
It's
like
like it's yeah.
yeah, like if all you're comparing it to in kid shows is like, well, like Avatar: The Last Airbender or something like that. Like, because what are the kid shows that are even worth remembering anything about when you're 30, right? Oh, the best
Honestly,
ones.
what are there? What even good? If we move outside of animation,
Yeah.
what live action kids shows
Yeah.
are good?
Yeah, right? That's a good question.
Like maybe like there's things I could guess at that I haven't rewatched in a long time.
Well, Keenan and
Like
Kel,
I
obviously.
mean, I was gonna say Keenan and Kel. That was the first thing that came to my brain. First, I was gonna say like, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Or trying to think of other Nickelodeon,
Goosebumps.
like maybe Alex Mack. I don't know. Is that good? For like probably not,
Mhm.
but I don't really
Yeah.
know.
But like
But yeah,
here's
it's
the yeah, and this is the problem is right is that those shows like probably are good for kids TV, but good isn't really good enough for me to think about or care about in my 30s, right? It has to be like literal best, and I don't know, you might be right. I don't know that there are many, if any, live action kid shows I can think of that are like so good that I might devote a thought to them.
Space Cases. You
What?
know, you don't remember Space Cases?
I don't remember Space Cases.
It was I think it was Nickelodeon. It might have been another Canadian show. It was a sci-fi show. I believe there was a young Jewel State was on that show.
Sure.
It was a show. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, we'll do it for the Patreon.
We'll do it for the Patreon. Anyway, I think we're going to talk more today. I've got stuff to say about this episode. I think that's relevant to the idea of being good in a bad way or bad in a good way or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I think that will come up. This episode has a lot of thematic stuff going on, both in terms of the book and the show. So there's a lot of comparisons to be made, and we'll
yeah,
get
and
that.
also just like television construction
Right. Right.
stuff. And as to the point about the theme song, yeah, I don't know. There were, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's more like a sitcom, like a Full House kind of a thing, where you just see them turn to the camera. But usually in those, they're also doing something, like they're like, he's doing something funny, and then he turns to the camera and smiles. And here it's just, here they are.
Yeah, I
It's the
mean,
Animorphs.
it's funny you say that because you and Gwen both kind of have a point. Like this is very
Thank you.
sitcom-y, and the way they do their stupid like closing narrations is also very sitcom-y. But Gwen has a point about how, like, if this were an action show, which, like, of course Animorphs is an action show, how could it not be? Then maybe you would do something a little bit more like character moment. I feel like that is a thing. Sometimes this show wants to act like it's a sitcom with kids when it's not.
Mm. I think it's more. I think it's less that they're. I don't think they're making any conscious decisions. Let me put it that way.
Oh,
I
I'd
think
agree with
all of
that.
these. Yeah, all of this is like this is what we had time to do that day. What's
Hmm.
the intro going to be? I don't know. Get some. We have some footage of the kids. Great, put that
Yeah.
together. Nobody was like it should be sitcom-y.
Yeah, but like whether or not it's intentional, it might speak to like state of mind. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't think that that's there on purpose, but that might be there because of what you're saying. Like I didn't put enough thought into it, and so I kind of defaulted to sitcom-y. If I'd put thought into it, I might have made it more actiony or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Well, thanks again, Gwen. Thanks to Gwen. Email us, theyerkyboys@gmail.com, if you have thoughts or opinions about the show or any other aspect of Animorphs and Animorphs culture. We'll read it on the show. And also check out our Patreon, patreon.com/theyerkyboys for bonus episodes. We'll plug that again at the end of the show. Get ready for that. Little
hell
tease
yeah.
for you.
Most exciting thing to happen all episode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ready to
All
start?
right.
Yeah.
So, this episode, The Stranger, this is in fact based on the book The
The
Stranger,
Stranger.
book
Right.
number 7,
By Camus.
with the Elemist.
Right. The Camus book with the Elemist.
Right. I'm not really listening to you.
I just wanted. Can I just? I'm going to say that. You know what? Never mind.
No, go
I
ahead.
won't
Go
interrupt.
ahead. No, I want to hear it.
All right. Well, I was
I'm
just
sure
going to
it's
say.
important.
I once again I didn't remember everything that happened in the book compared to the episode. And I have a feeling that I have like several notes and thoughts that I had during the episode that I probably said verbatim when we read the book too. So
That's
I don't
fine.
know. This might just be a very repetitive episode.
Listen, that aired like 2 fucking years ago or some shit.
Oh God.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus. But a long time ago, so nobody remembers what you said anyway, so it's fine.
Cool.
I sure don't. Yeah. So,
Go on.
director Don McCutcheon and writer Mark Scott Zicree again. This is the same team as The Alien,
One of our favorites.
one of our favorites, yes.
Yeah, these guys have done a lot. Or at least Zicree we've seen a lot.
Yeah, Zicree has been showing up a lot. Don
I
McCutcheon,
call him
although he's
Zicree.
usually paired with Schusterman. McCutcheon, I think this is his second director credit.
Okay. Yeah. None of these people had really. These were all pretty. If you don't remember who they are, it's because there's no reason to remember who they are.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, these people, they only mean something in terms of like, have I seen them before? Yeah, I have. These were the
Yeah.
Fs. We got some new actors, although I'm pretty sure none of these people even have like a picture on IMDb. I didn't even check.
Yeah, I did look at the IMDb's for a few of the new actors. One of them is a character who I don't remember who it is.
Is this Dan?
Yeah, who the fuck's Dan?
Dan is Rachel's dad.
Oh.
Kevin Hicks is Dan.
What's his name in the books?
Is Dan in the books too?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Did we know that in the books? Or maybe
Yeah,
we
I think
did.
this is actually the book where we find that out.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking because before they invented a name for somebody's parents we didn't know, but I forgot that some of them we did know.
Yeah.
On.
No, they change some things, they don't change other things. We also have Peter Messeline as the Elemist.
Whoa, hey, come on. You're fucking not burying the lead on that one.
I already said there's an Elemist.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, in the book maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, it's also here. They didn't adapt the book The Stranger and then neglect to put the Elemist in.
I mean, it's very likely The Stranger could be the title for anything. You know?
Well, sure, but I already said they adapted book 7.
Sure, but I mean, adapted.
Well, all right. Then
Rachel's in it. We did it.
Cherilee Taylor as older Rachel.
You don't think it's Sherilee or Sherry Lee?
I have no idea how to pronounce this name. I'll believe
Lee,
whatever you tell me.
All right, I think it's Jessica.
Okay, Jessica Taylor as older Rachel.
Yeah, she was in Blues Brothers.
Oh, she was? Who'd she play in Blues Brothers?
Sorry, I should clarify. She played Dancer in Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh, okay. So no wonder I don't know who the fuck she is.
Yeah, so she was in Blues Brothers. That's pretty cool.
Answers. And then we have the return of Cass Van Wyck as Sarah.
Oh, that is the same kid? I honestly thought it was a different kid.
I thought it was the return. You know what? I didn't check.
Oh my
God.
Kid. Oh my God.
You go check right now. Tell me if it's the same kid or
They
not.
look different. Well, I was gonna talk about Peter Messeline, the Elemist.
Oh, yeah, talk about the Elemist here.
Well, he's dead.
Oh, well, that's lovely.
He died in 2016. He was 72, which I think is like average age for a man, right, in the United States.
Somewhere like that. I don't know.
So pretty good, there's not much that he has worth discussing, but he did some voice work, and the first thing on his voice credits is 4 episodes in 1972 of Doctor Who. In season 9, there's a 4-part episode called Day of the Daleks, and he is credited as Dalek Voices.
Oh shit! I think that's like big episode because I've heard that name before.
Yeah, but like that's surely, I'm not a Who head.
I mean, I'm not really a Who head either.
He didn't invent that like Dalek voice, right? Like that's season 9. They must have been around
they had
before
Daleks
then.
before that for sure. They must have, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
they
not like
did. They
he's
definitely did. So
yeah.
he just
So
so he probably didn't do all of them. Maybe he was just some of the Daleks.
like, how do you end up being some Daleks in just 4 episodes and no other time? I guess he did a shitty job. They're like,
Do the
that Dalek
Daleks like
sucked.
actually have different voices? I just assumed it's all the same guy for all of
Yeah,
them forever. Maybe they couldn't get the
right.
guy back. Maybe he died.
Yeah, he was the transition voice. By the way, confirmed it is the same actress as Sarah.
Okay.
At least she's appeared twice before. And I also forgot one other important credit in this episode:
Hmm.
Caesar.
Yes.
Not Caesar is a lion. It's not Bongo. Isn't Bongo the
Oh, you're
lion that
right.
we?
Bongo was the Do we have two lions? This is maybe it's sometimes Caesar and sometimes Bongo. Oh
Yeah,
shit! I gotta go back and track this.
this is our first confirmed, I think, Caesar appearance. I feel like it's always been Bongo,
Interesting.
or they've been uncredited and we assumed it was Bongo.
Yeah, I could have sworn I saw Caesar before. Now I'm wondering if they alternate the lions or if I'm just mistaken. Oh, this is. Oh, we're gonna. Hmm. I'm
Also,
excited.
here's something I really like. I just noticed on IMDb. If you
Hmm.
scroll all the way down to additional crew, they have credits for the Lion and Hawk trainers from this episode. So
Mm.
it's not just Brian Renfro, trainer of Homer. There are IMDb. Somebody dug up who the trainers were that are not in the credits of the show.
That's pretty exciting. So we know who is beating the lions.
That's right. There's 3 trainers each for the hawk and the lion in this episode. They needed 3 people for that hawk?
I mean, the hawk does actually do a decent amount in this episode. The lion,
Oh,
kind
wait
of
a
just
minute.
stands there.
Maybe it might be like they just list all of the ones that ever for every episode, because now I'm looking up and I'm
Mm.
seeing that there's actually 1, 2, 3, 6 credited hawk trainers. Or sorry, 5, and then 1 is the animal supplier.
Yeah, that's probably all of them.
But only one Brian Renfro. Nobody else can replace him. That guy's fucking
Well,
vital.
as I teased, there is a lot of hawk action in this episode, although there is no Homer action, sadly.
Yeah.
Important to
Brian
get some
Renfro's still
Homer.
getting a check, but Homer has left the building.
Yeah.
Should we
Uh,
talk about the episode?
I guess we can talk about the episode now.
Eh,
Uh,
I don't want to.
yeah, alright, the end. Thanks for listening. Open,
Fuck you.
Rachel's, like, in her closet. She's getting an outfit because she's gonna go hiking with her dad. When they go downstairs, Victor Trent and his thugs burst in and they put a yerk in her dad's ear, and then she wakes up because she's having a nightmare. So that's a pretty cool opening. You excited for that
Almost
opening?
This is almost like it sounds like you're really, you're describing the scene like you would do for the books, like it's more
Yeah.
structured.
Oh, am I?
It's felt like it.
Wow. I just wanted to get through it. What do you
So
think about
I
this
need
scene?
I'm gonna need, like, throughout this episode.
Uh huh.
Well, until the second, it's just like last week's episode. I remember the second half from the book. I don't remember what happens that's not Ellimist related.
Okay.
So, like, is this in the book? I don't know. It's just a dream. Like, this could happen anywhere.
Yeah. So, okay. So the opening of this book is Rachel and Cassie go to the circus with Rachel's dad. Because it's Saturday and
Oh,
he's visiting, and this is where Rachel talks to Mr. Joseph something
oh
about his
God.
elephants and turns into a talking elephant because he's mistreating them at the circus.
Good
Uh,
move cutting that guy.
um,
That's when
the
KA walked. She was like,
yeah,
Joseph, something stays in, or I am no longer involved with the show. And they said goodbye.
sounds like her. Yeah, and also now this scene here, I don't think this was in this book. I think it was in a different book, but I don't remember for sure. Where Rachel like has a nightmare and like Jordan wakes her up. Now here we have Sarah. It does seem like there's no Jordan. I think you were right to assume there's no Jordan in this.
I think that was confirmed, like, last appearance. I
You're
think it was
probably
pretty
right.
clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've just haven't seen her since then, so you forgot. If there's
Yeah.
a Jordan, then I don't know where the fuck they're hiding her. She's like locked in the attic or something. Sarah ate Jordan in the womb. That's what happened in this
I
universe.
guess that's what happened here.
Are they? They're not twins, right? They're
No, no,
different
no, no.
ages.
Yeah, they're different ages. Um,
They're twins to me.
so I do like Visser 3 hamming it up, Victor Trent hamming it up here.
Sure, sure, sure.
He's
We love
always
Eugene.
fun. I don't know that I like Rachel's
That's it.
delivery of like, oh no, when she's being dragged off. There's a lot of Rachel delivery in this episode that I'm not a huge fan of.
Oh look, it's a big Rachel episode,
It is.
and Rachel has been probably our most discussed, like underdeveloped spot of the show that we are unhappy with at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is Rachel is number one with a bullet, or should I say with a Dracon beam,
Yeah, you should.
a shredder beam. Does anything use bullets? Are they all beams?
I think the aliens all use beams.
And so this episode they did not switch Rachel for Cassie. Maybe this is why they made Rachel Cassie in the last episode, because they didn't want to have two Rachels in a row.
Yeah, that could be that they just didn't have another. We were saying they were running out of episodes that weren't like crazy earth shaking what the fuck are you doing Ellimist episodes, so they might have just needed to pad it out with that one, and you can't have two Rachels, that's too many.
Right, even though we had like three Marco and Jakes in a row or whatever.
Well, you can't have too much Marco.
You can. Contrary to what everyone else says. And so here's Rachel. We get a little bit more of her. She's talking about fashion, and her dad's like, "Oh boy, Rachel, where'd you get your vanity from?"
Mm-hmm.
And
and there's the joke. It's he immediately checks his hair in the mirror afterwards. Like, that's fun.
It's fine. It is a little. At this point, the Rachel stuff has not happened for so long that I'm really like. It feels like we're doing. I believe in this. Maybe it's after the intro, but at some point soon she goes, "I've always been into gymnastics," and it's like, has that ever come up on the show before?
Yeah, I think she talked about gymnastics practice with Melissa, but it's possible that was just in the books and I'm forgetting.
I think you're maybe right. I think they probably did mention it during that time on the show, but it feels like they're trying to play catch up or trying to convince the audience, like, see, we always had stuff that Rachel was doing, even though like none of this has really been established.
Yeah.
And still in this whole episode, I don't think her, the whole anger issues side of Rachel, I don't think in any way does that come out in this episode.
Yeah, so I think this is a huge issue. Well, number one, this is a book in which Rachel is completely fucking bonkers, psychotic, out of control, and she's just not in this episode at all. But also, this is a book where there are a number of times where, Rachel is kind of like questioning her relationship to violence in the war because of all the thematic stuff with her dad and blah 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 that we'll get into, and that like works because it kind of contrasts against what we already know about Rachel. And here, when they do that sort of thing, it contrasts against nothing, so it doesn't feel like it's contrasting at all. It in fact just becomes who she is. So, for example, in this opening scene, she wakes up, she's thrashing from the nightmare. Sarah shows up to comfort her. And in the books, when she has her nightmare scene where Jordan comes, Jordan is very freaked out because Rachel is never freaked out, and she seems really freaked out by this nightmare. And so, it's very jarring for her. But here, I don't get that because I don't know Rachel as somebody who's never freaked out. So here it's just like, like I watch it and I'm just like, yep, Rachel had a nightmare. Sarah's here to comfort her. Do I think that maybe Rachel's just the kind of girl who has nightmares often? Sarah's like, yep, just another nightmare. Rachel always has them. She's that kind of girl. Do I think that? Maybe I do. It's the only thing I've seen her do. You know what I mean? And so that's going to be, I think, a running theme for me.
Yeah, I don't think anything. I'm just like, she had a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
there's no.
but the problem is that like now that's something that I know about her. Oh, she has nightmares.
Yeah.
That's something she's done. You know, on the blank
Right.
slate.
Right. Which at some point, I suppose, they all have nightmares, but it's just not. I mean, I think the problem is that it's not played as anything.
Yeah.
It's just any one of these characters could have had this same nightmare. I guess like the episode is about her being afraid of like losing her dad, kind of, but that all doesn't come across that strongly.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that very shortly when he actually does the thing, but
One thing that I did like in this opening in the dream sequence, and I'm wondering if this is supposed to be a canon continuity change or if it's just Rachel's dream, which previously we saw when they're putting a yerk in someone's ear, they took the yerk out of a sort of a thermos. And here it's in like a jewelry case.
yeah, it looks like a fucking like mint tin that you would get, except
A
that
big one.
the bottom of the tin is like mother of pearl or something. It looks weird.
Okay, so I don't know what mother of pearl means. What is that?
It's like that weird sheen that you get on like the inside of a thing that has a pearl in it. It's like that kind of thing.
Sure. It looks like some goo you would buy in the 90s at the toy store. Some purple goo.
Well,
Like
imagine that it's not gooey, but it's just like flat and it's got a sheen. It's like it's got those little like waves and
it
it's
looks gooey to
reflective.
me.
Right, but if you touched it, it wouldn't be.
It looks like the old Converse shoes that had goo in the toe, and you could like press them and they'd change colors.
I think it's just because there's a slug on it. I think if there was a diamond in there, you wouldn't think it was gooey.
Looks gooey to me. Also, I don't understand. It seems weird that Visser 3 picks the yerk up with tweezers. Like, ew, I don't want to touch a fucking yerk. Gross.
I feel like
what?
Didn't they use tweezers on the thermos one time too, though, or am I mistaken?
They probably did, but it does seem a bit strange. Like, couldn't they just pick up their own species with their host's fingers? Like, why are they going to damage it somehow or something? That makes no sense. Whatever, who cares?
Well, they'd have to touch a slug.
It's more menacing looking, I suppose. It's a prop for the actor to play with. All right. So but then finally we're awake, and it's not. What was that one book where they had 7 different dream sequences? That was the David one, right? The Return.
Yeah, that sure was one of them.
Yeah, that
was the only one
here.
where they had 7 different dream sequences.
Right.
No, I mean, this is fine because it's literally a cold open to establish it's an establishing thing. It's fine. But yeah, so as you said, there's a scene where she's doing some gymnastics. She loves gymnastics. Her dad shows up. There's some implication that normally he's here on Saturdays, but I guess that in today is whatever. He's here and he does the thing where he says, I'm going to be moving 1,000 miles away because I have a better job. Rachel, do you want to come with me? So that's the same as the book, right?
It's very vague. We don't know in the show either where they are or what city he's going to. Except it's funnier because in the book you can be like, "Oh, I'm not going to tell you," but in the show they just don't say it.
Yeah.
I'm going another place far away.
Yeah.
Yes, I know of this place you speak of.
Yeah, no, it is because he's talking about this gymnastics instructor, Karla Belnikov or whatever. And Rich is like, wait a second, doesn't Karla Belnikov live 1,000 miles away? And it's, her dad's like, well, I got a new job. And Rich is like, oh, but the catch is it's 1,000 miles away. That's all we hear. Like,
yeah.
Presumably Rachel just knows, oh, it must be where Karla Belnikov lives. That's
Russia,
that city.
I actually rewound because I was like, did I miss it? Did they say the name of the city they're going to? And they don't. There are some clues, though.
Yes, there are some clues. So in the books, so there's a clue where he says there are some serious mountains there. Now, if we are to assume
that this is Canada,
that this is Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto as they call it.
I'm sorry, Toronto, you're correct. Then they're only like 1,500 miles away from Colorado. And they say 1,000 miles. Yeah, so they could be going to like Denver or Boulder or something.
Sure. I mean, where else
Yeah.
in the United States would be a real like mountain? I guess it could be like the Rockies or something.
Yeah, like it would not be unreasonable if you're an East Coaster to say, "Oh yeah, the Adirondacks are some pretty serious mountains." But if you lived out west, you'd be like, "Pff, those are baby mountains. We got real mountains over here because they're idiots and they're losers."
Right.
But like, yeah, I mean, the point is, if you were to talk about the continental United States and say like, where are the quote unquote serious mountains? That's
Mhm,
where they are.
mhm. He also says it's a huge sports town,
So it could be
which I don't.
Boulder.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, I guess it depends on what kind of sport. That would be a huge sports town for like outdoorsy, like biking and mountain climbing and shit.
But we
Sports
still don't
town?
know, of course. Are they supposed to
Yeah.
be in California in the show?
Yeah. Because I think that was a problem that I had in the show was that or in the book where I was trying to figure out like where the fuck are there serious mountains that are that distance from where they're supposed to be?
Hmm.
Because they would have like landed
Hmm.
out in the Midwest or something.
Yeah, and they're they do eventually say where they actually are, so it's not like
Yeah,
you can't be. It's not like Springfield on The Simpsons where it's
right.
like it's every place. Like it is a place.
Yeah,
Rachel's.
I did look because in the books, this trainer is also Karla Belnikov, and I don't remember if we looked up if this was a real person, but I was just like, if this is a real person, I can just look up where she lived, and I don't think this was a real person.
They use the same name.
They use the same name, not changed.
God, that's so weird.
Yeah, right.
Why even why
um,
even that
um,
part of it doesn't even
yeah,
matter. Like there's no why even include the gymnastics bit? It's irrelevant. It's
right.
not even a good
Unless this is a
character.
real person,
Wait,
right?
so you
But
did
it's
she's
not. I didn't see any.
right.
When I typed this
No.
name into Google, all I got was Seropedia stuff. Now, I did find a gymnastics coach called Karoli Bella, but that's a dude. Pronounced that very badly because it's Hungarian.
Ugh. If we have any Hungarian listeners, fuck off. Get the fuck out of here. Um Rachel's a Stanley Cup girl.
Oh, is she?
I don't know. She takes a big swig of a water bottle. I
Oh,
guess.
that kind of. I thought you meant like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
No.
I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. No. 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 The
She's
other kind.
she's the new Hydro Flask Visco girl thing.
That's
They do
right.
Stanley Cups now. Yeah, I forgot. I'm too old. I don't
That's
know these
right.
references anymore.
Yeah. So this is where it does. I mean, at this now I've just accepted it. But when I first heard the term Stanley Cup, I was like,
Yeah.
you can't just call it that.
Yeah.
That already
You
is
can't.
something. Get the fuck out of here. All right. Anyway, we don't need to. We don't need to. This doesn't need to turn into a 30-year-old boomers yell at clouds right now. I mean, maybe that. I guess that is our show.
Yeah. God, we suck.
Yeah, mostly you. Um.
She does have some posters too in this room.
Oh, in Rachel's bedroom.
Yeah.
I was gonna say before I was not really. It just doesn't feel like there's like stuffed animals and stuff in the
Uh-huh.
background, and it just doesn't feel very nobody thought about what would Rachel have in this room. This was just generic
Hmm.
girl room. What do we have? It's very unimpressive in terms of set design.
Yeah.
Um, okay, this is where I might be saying stuff I already said in the book, but
Okay.
also her dad is just like, "Hey, I want to take you with me. I'm gonna move far away. I already talked to your mom about it. She thinks it's a great idea." It's just
Yeah.
the fact that Rachel didn't know about this. Her mom, who she lives with, discussed it with her dad, but to her it was a complete surprise, and her mom was just like, "Yeah, good idea. Take my daughter." Like,
Yeah.
what? That's kind of shitty.
I Yeah, it is weird because in the book it's handled a lot more legitimately, where her mom is just like, "Yeah, so your dad wants to fucking talk to you," and
Mhm.
the dad's like, "Listen, I'd like to take you with me because I'm going." And obviously, your mom would rather you stay, but you're old enough to make your own decisions. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like there's
Yeah.
some tension there. Uh, and yeah, okay, her sisters are not old enough to make their own decisions and blah blah blah, whatever. But yeah, it felt here it is very just kind of glossed over. Like, why isn't this? Why do I not give a shit about the rest of Rachel's family if I'm supposed to be caring about this family dynamic thing?
Yeah, well, the problem is to get her mom involved, they'd have to pay another actor.
Right. Yes.
So they're just really trying to make that budget stretch as far as they could. Something that I said around this area in my notes, and I'll say it again later too, is imagine if there was music right now or editing.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
There's a few scenes in this
Mhm.
episode, and this is one of them where it's so quiet, and it's like, did they just not have the budget to get someone to write a score for the show? Because it's very awkward. It really feels like there should be music underneath some of this. And it's just there's scenes without dialogue where a character's just like walking into a room and she sits in her bed and there's just quiet.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, so let's bring it back to a part of Gwen's email that we didn't talk about. So I'm happier that she also likes the like techno score thing because I really like every time the goofy techno
yeah.
exciting music comes on. But it really does. I do think this is the problem is that um and I don't know whose job this is. Is this like sound director's job? Who does this? But whatever they commissioned in terms of score for this, I think does not hit every emotional beat. Right? Like when they need to do something exciting, they've got that fun like do 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 type music.
Yeah.
But then when they need to do something kind of tensiony, like going sneaking around behind a building and having the kids peer out from behind a building, they're still playing the action music because that's all they got. And yeah, as you say, there's not that much for a scene like this.
Yeah,
Um,
there's no just incidental transition, new location. Like
yeah.
it's something that you don't really think about usually watching a TV show because that's just so commonplace and expected. It just blends into the background. But
Mhm.
when it's lacking and you almost like I just don't notice it. Maybe in earlier episodes there was something where I thought, "Oh, this feels off," but I couldn't even quite place what it was. And I think it's just the lack of a score.
Mhm.
It's very strange.
Yeah, you know what the show actually really needs now that I'm thinking about it in terms of did they commission the score properly is the show needs character themes. Like imagine if there were
Mm,
just like a 10-second riff that's just like that's Rachel. That's
yeah.
Marco, that's Axe. I think that would really help this show a lot in terms of even just feeling the characters. That would add a lot of dimension there. And that would also allow you to do things like, oh, let's do a slightly altered version of the Rachel thing because she's here and she's feeling an emotion or something.
Yeah. Well, that's something I feel like a lost art in movies too
Hmm.
now and like everything. Like nobody writes scores that are melodies anymore or themes. It's just
Yeah.
once again fucking old boomers. But now it's just I mean sometimes that's
Yeah.
good. But yeah, that is like I mean the Marvel movies I think are a great example of that where there's very few memorable themes
Hmm.
from those movies. Like I feel like Captain America is maybe the only character of the Avengers who actually has something close to a theme that plays when he shows
Yeah,
up.
I can't even think of that. All I can think of is the Avengers theme that plays when the Avengers show up.
Right. If you heard the Captain America one, you would
Okay,
recognize it,
okay.
I think. But yeah, that is. I feel like that's a big. People don't appreciate how helpful that. Like the score can be everything in a
Hmm.
movie or a TV show. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of a bummer here. But hey, at least you get dun 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 dun.
Yeah. I mean, whose job is that? Like if you're making a show and you're saying, "Okay, I got to commission a score for my show and then we're going to edit it in somehow, but I need to like whose job is it to say like these are the pieces that I want, this is what I want them to sound like vaguely. Get me these pieces so that I can use them later." Like who does that?
I assume
Who do
it's
I
the
blame?
producers.
Is it?
I don't think it's the director.
You don't think that there's like a sound editor or sound designer who who like is both the person who works on this in the editing and maybe would also be in charge of that or something. I feel like that's a thing.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
looking
fucking
at
know.
IMDb, so
Yeah, tell me.
I can tell you there is a sound department, but like the jobs of it are sound effects editor, Foley artist, ADR recordist, re-recording mixer, dialogue editor. There's none of them are related to music. It's all sound.
So what they really
Uh
need here is some like sound department head. You know what I mean? Like sound
oh, here we
manager.
go. There is a Doug Bernheim was the music supervisor. So I guess it was his job.
It's got to be his fucking job. Fuck you, Doug.
But no one is
Your
even
shit
credit.
together.
Who is there anyone? Oh, music. Oh, right. We've talked about this guy. Music by Norman Orenstein is the.
Right.
But I think I'm guessing he wasn't like there for every episode going, okay,
No.
how do I score this one? It's more like they said, hey, we
Yeah.
need a one action song and we need one other kind of song, and then he like left for the year.
Right, right. You have your like OST and then you edit it in.
Right. Which sucks. Anyway, yeah, so there's that. What about they got the James Eha to do the music?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to look up who this guy was because I was like, who the fuck is that? And then I was like, oh, I guess I do know who that is, technically,
I,
sort
I
of.
don't do I? This is a poster that Rachel has in her
Yeah.
room for listeners.
You probably don't know the name because I don't. This is the lead guitarist and founder of Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh,
Which
I'm
I didn't
looking
fucking know that,
now.
but that's who he is.
Yeah, I only know Billy Corrigan. You
Yeah.
know, I'm a surface level Smashing Pumpkins fan, I'll admit.
Yeah, Rachel's over here like, oh yeah, you like Smashing Pumpkins, John? Top 5 songs.
Yeah, that's right.
Favorite albums.
Oh, well, it's Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, and I could name most of the songs off it.
Right, but
But
I
she'd be
mean, I'm
like,
just saying your choices would reveal you as a surface level to a
I'd be like,
real pumpkin head like her.
my favorite Smashing Pumpkins album, Zeitgeist. I don't know. Smashing Pumpkins fans would probably laugh at that joke if they're listening,
Well, that's one for the pumpkin heads.
because that's an album like after they
Yeah.
sucked.
Yeah,
They already,
sure.
but it came.
I
out,
don't
it
even
came
know enough
out,
to know why that's a joke, so there you go.
Yeah, it came out when I was in high school, and I like was trying to listen to cool bands, and I bought that because I was like, oh, this is the new Smashing Pumpkins. I'm like into them now. But I was like, it didn't occur to me that they sucked at that point.
Yeah.
But it's called Zeitgeist, which I like.
Right, yeah, one of your favorite words. Got to be top 3 for sure.
Now I'm checking out James Ehad. He seems pretty cool.
And while you do that, there's also in the background of this shot there is a little, I don't know if it's a poster, but it's this long horizontal thing and it's got a whole bunch of parrots on it. It's like an infographic thing you hang on your wall.
Hmm.
So you can maybe you can kind of see Rachel's getting into birds here a little.
Okay. That's good character work, set team. I
Yeah.
like that. All right.
I have some series of inappropriate notes here that I'm not going to read about. You know, maybe
Uh-huh.
Tobias is kind of into Rachel
Mhm.
admiring parrots because he's like a bird
Mm,
racist and he's in the cuck cage. And we don't need to get into
right.
exactly what I wrote here because it's
Interesting.
kind of graphic. But
Right. Like, which race would you say the parrots are?
well, I don't think we need to get into it. But I do.
I
There is an
guess.
answer in these notes.
I guess South Americans.
Oh yeah,
The
that's true.
Brazilians.
This is like Latin men, right?
Right. Yeah.
These are the Marcos of the bird world.
Now it makes sense. Yep. That's painting a picture. She also has a ton of sports trophy. I guess they're all gymnastics trophies, but they're really leaning into this idea that Rachel's a big sports competitor, which
hmm
I guess that was more of a thing in the earlier books that she was into gymnastics. Like I do know that about her, but I don't picture a room full of trophies necessarily. But I guess she
Yeah,
could have
maybe.
them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of missed opportunity that this particular type of show could have done better to capitalize on if they'd done it early is because I do think that's an interesting thing in the books where in the early books, you know, Rachel's got her gymnastics that she is pretty good at and likes a lot, and she's got her shopping and blah blah blah, but it's like not really fulfilling, and there's that element of like, oh, I'll never really be good at it. I might be good in my local area, but I'll never really succeed. Like there's like almost like this hunger for something else. Um but like the
Mm.
progression of that in the books is that we just kind of stop talking about it because it's not relevant. And it could have been nice to see Rachel, you know, in gymnastics classes and then like just kind of drifting away with it or losing touch with it. But
Yeah.
here it's basically treated the same as it is in the books in that we mention it and then I assume we're going to drop it immediately. Except they mention it less than in the books, so it's even worse.
Yeah, it kind of could be her basketball like that Jake has.
Yeah.
But that's sort of the same thing where it just they just stop
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah, and again, the interesting thing about Jake in basketball is also that connection to Tom, which is another thing the books just kind of drop.
Right. Just like Melissa for Rachel.
Yeah. I mean, I'm full in after what was it last time? I think it was last time. I am full in on we're never seeing Melissa again in this show. That's my
I
bet.
won't reveal it. I won't reveal it because
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I
Well, we'll
think.
see when the show ends. We'll find out.
Right when the show ends, we will find out. Now I don't know about this next part where her dad leaves the room after having this talk with her, and then she has a spoken
Yeah.
monologue out loud to herself, weighing the pros and cons of the decision.
Yes, this is one of quite a few moments in this episode where I don't really like the writing and I don't really like her performance of the writing.
Yeah, it's
It's not
like
good.
again, I feel bad like
Mhm.
ragging on a child actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not great. And also just particularly just the idea like this is obviously them a crutch for them because they can't. I mean, they could have just made it a voiceover, I guess. Like that's what you would do in the book. It's
Mhm.
because you have the benefit of it being a point of view narrator. But here they just have her. Oh shit! I just noticed. Sorry, in her mirror, she actually has. I don't know if it's the actual CD or a little poster. She has the cover of Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness in her
Oh
mirror.
shit. So that's her favorite album.
Someone. So there. This wasn't just a coincidence. There is a
Yeah.
pumpkin's head on this show.
There
Putting this
apparently there was a
together.
pumpkin's head. Holy shit. That's exciting.
Wow. This is good
See, so there
stuff.
you so there you go. You were saying they didn't put enough thought into Rachel's room. Well, somebody did.
Yeah. And that's
Now
a good
that's
90s pull. That's good.
what we know about Rachel now. That's her like defining character trait.
I think we might need to do a Smashing Pumpkins episode on the Patreon now.
We might.
Anyway, what was I saying? I don't know, some shit about the show. Who cares?
Something about the voiceover here with Rachel.
It was
and
bad.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
a very cheap, dumb way to get character emotions across, to have them literally talk out loud to themselves. I mean, I talk out loud
Yeah.
to myself. Like you could.
Yeah.
That's probably surprising to no one. You could like make that work, but it's not
Yeah.
it's not a thing that happens on this show.
Right.
So it's
And
weird.
I mean part of the other problem here is that if you want to have a character talking out loud when it doesn't normally happen about an emotional thing, you do have to sell that emotion. You can get to this point where it's just like the reason she's doing it is because she's like distraught, but she doesn't sell that. But I do think it's also the writing. I do think that just the way that it is written out is just so generic and cheesy that it doesn't like she could put a good performance in it and I'd still be like, what is she even saying right now? Um
Yeah,
and
I
there
don't like what
Yeah.
she. I think her pros and cons she's weighing
Yes.
are also bad.
Yeah, I mean that is also a huge part of it. It's not just the cadence of the writing, it's also the substance. It's yeah, so okay. She says like her pros are like no more fighting Yerks. Oh, I don't have to deal with Marco's bad jokes. Ha ha ha. And then her cons for leaving are she picks up a picture. Is that who is that in the picture? Is that fucking
I-
Sarah? That's
I think it's Sarah. Yeah.
I can't even tell who's in the picture with her. But I guess it's Sarah, so presumably the reason not to go is her family. And this is like I think this is just like a car crash of like of a way to handle this, because in the books, this is supposed to be like, this is what I was saying earlier. Thematically, we're exploring like what is Rachel's connection to the war, and uh how does she personally like handle it and deal with it and think about herself in relation to it, right? Like it's like, oh, on the one hand, don't I want to get away from this because it's nightmarish and it's causing me PTSD, and it would be so nice to just not have to do it. On the other hand, isn't it my duty to stay if people are going to be dying? And what about my friends? What will my friends do without me? And also, don't I maybe kind of like it, but maybe I don't like that about myself? Like there's a lot of there's pros and cons on either side of there's a Yerk war going on. But here it just feels like there's a Yerk war going on. Well, that's a reason why I would want to leave. I just get the fuck out. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even worried about that. What about your friends?
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about my friends. You know the reason I want to stay? My family. Right? What the fuck do I know about her family? I don't know shit about Sarah. Right? Yeah, I've never even seen her mom. She's not even in the picture. She doesn't even say my family out loud. What is the why do I care about this dilemma? Right? Like there's nothing to hang on to here.
No, this could literally be any sitcom
Yeah.
in the 90s of any kid like who has to decide if they want to move or not. It has the fact that there's an alien war.
Yeah.
Not
That's a
thing she's
reason to
concerned
leave.
with.
I don't want to be in fucking Animorphs. Let me go be in a sick. I don't even. Because here's the thing: in the sitcom, she would also be worried about leaving her. Wouldn't you think that she'd be like, on the plus side, I get to see my dad, that family. On the minus side, I have to leave behind all my friends. Here, her friends don't even come up. Like she doesn't care.
Yeah.
They come up in an offhanded joke about no more of Marco's bad jokes, but she doesn't care. She doesn't give a shit about that. Poor Sarah. I don't care about Sarah.
No concept of like, hey, maybe I'll just talk to Jake for 1 minute, or Cassie, my best friend, Cassie.
Yeah, I mean, look, she does talk to Jake about it because you know how they are, but like, later, shortly. But yeah, it's just I, as the audience, need her to make her decision based on stuff I care about.
Yes, it is. She also does not mention Tobias at all.
Yeah, no mention of fucking Tobias.
Was very just bizarre writing.
Yeah.
Really, like completely missing the essence of what this choice should be about.
Yeah. And not helped by the fact that I had to like pause and look to be like, why is she staying? Is that Sarah? Because she doesn't say it.
Honestly, when Sarah first wakes her up from her nightmare, it was like kind of dark, and I was like, that's why I thought it was a different kid. I was like, her hair looks like it's a different color or something. Isn't she supposed to be blonde? Like, is she a brunette? Does she have red hair? Like, what the fuck is this kid? Where did this kid come from?
If they didn't have that scene in this episode, I would have no idea who was in that. Like, I would not have ever figured it out. Here's a question. Rachel thinks of reasons to stay. She picks up a photograph and looks at it wistfully. She has a photograph of her and Tobias from earlier that's like big and important. It was like a huge thing. She got that picture taken in one episode and then they connected it to her in her later episode. We could, maybe I could care about her relationship. Maybe she could care about her relationship with Tobias.
Yeah.
It'd be basically the same thing, but with a shot of that picture instead of this nothing bullshit.
Yeah. So, not a great showing for the establishing part of this episode.
No.
No. And this may also be true of the book, but it also just feels like by the time we get to the Ellimist stuff, it's only barely tangentially relevant to this decision. Really, these could be two completely separate episodes. They don't do a good job tying these ideas together and making you go, oh, that's changed her mind or whatever, which I mean, I guess they kind of do it. We'll get there, but all of this just feels like you could just skip this part of the episode. It doesn't matter.
I do think there's something to be said for the idea that I think I don't know that they tie it together I know they don't. But I don't know how much they tie it together in the books either, so much as they just well, maybe they do. But there is a parallel there, and they do run them in parallel. And in some ways, I think the parallel between, oh my, do I want to go off and enjoy the safety of not having to fight in the war, and enjoy I get to be with my dad who I love. I don't have to fight in the war, versus I have a responsibility to stay here. The parallel with the decision with the Elemist, are we going to go and make a human sanctuary, in some ways is a little bit stronger here, because all the other Elemist stuff is weaker. Because
Because.
eh
No, I was just singing. Go ahead.
yeah. Yeah,
I
sure.
didn't mean to. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
um Yeah, I don't remember where I was. But yeah, because in the books, there's so much going on with the Elements that doesn't translate here, that it almost confuses the fact that that parallel is here, I think, if I'm
Mm.
remembering right.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But it's still
Enough.
not, like, great. I,
Can we
I, I
just?
do think the biggest hurt on that parallel is just that this story is not good on its own.
Yeah, and it's not. It's not that hard to
Yeah,
convey. Like, this isn't something that's hard to translate from the books. Like
right. This is the easy
the
part.
yeah, the idea of her dad was moving. Should she go with him? She'd have to stop fighting in the Yerk War. Like, it's such a layup. Why? How
Yeah.
did they fumble that? It
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, this is the fucking Elemist book. You look at this book and you go, how in the ever loving fuck are they going to adapt this book? And you know, you don't think that the question on that is, well, how are they going to adapt the divorced dad is moving across the country and wants to know if she wants to come with him part. Like that part's, I know how they do that. That's not what I was talking about. Oh, they couldn't even. Well, fuck, shit.
That part's tricky. I don't know. Let's please. I would like to talk about something more important.
Oh,
That
okay.
being the disc.
The disc, yes. We get to see Victor Trent in the Hirak disc and his Art Deco doors. Some lady controller scientist and not his weirdo guy, which is sad. I wanted him to come back.
There are two scientists, but
Yeah.
I don't think the other guy is that guy either.
No, he's some boring guy.
Yeah, that's a real shame. Well, he's busy. Or maybe it's the same Yerk in a different host.
Yeah, you're right. Could be.
So yeah, we have this little scene with Visser 3, and they've figured out that the disc needs someone's DNA to unlock it.
Yeah, like Andalite DNA.
Or presumably, I thought it's Tobias's DNA.
Well,
or maybe
yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah.
maybe it's Axe. I don't know. Well, just because Elfangor's
Yeah.
like, Tobias, take it.
Because they say they need Andalite DNA, and then Visser 3 demorphs and touches it and gets zapped. And they're like, oh, it must be a specific Andalite.
Don't they
The
say like the
chosen
chosen one? Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I think they literally just mean the one who was chosen. But
Yeah, like there's one, a particular one. The chosen one. The fact that they say the chosen one makes me think it's Tobias, because otherwise I'd be like, oh, it needs a specific Andalite DNA to unlock it. Like, I don't know, maybe his brother. You think maybe it's his brother? Could it maybe be? I mean, his brother's on Earth, right?
Right. They know that.
I think they know that.
Yeah, because he had a fight with him. Didn't he know who he
Yeah.
was? I don't know.
Anyway, they
But
say the chosen one, and that implies
Lorraine
some
would
kind
have
of
recognized
higher.
him.
So maybe it's Tobias.
But also, I don't understand. But they had the disc, and Tobias had the disc. So what is
Right.
the other thing? Clearly, it's not just the DNA. You need the DNA and something
And
to unlock
something.
it.
I
What
don't
is?
know.
And I guess the Yerks figured out the and something.
Yeah. Unless it is Axe. Axe never had it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and why didn't they ask him about the kids have forgotten about it completely. The disc
Yeah.
is only mentioned by the Yerks.
Yeah, Axe was right to fucking chew them out about losing it, because they don't even care.
They don't give a shit. Rachel's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna miss gymnastics. She doesn't give a fuck about the disc. Doesn't matter.
Why did we even do the fucking disc? I mean, I'm imagining though a scene where Axe rigs up the contraption with Radio Shack parts and is like, and now I'll use my DNA and it doesn't work, and then Tobias touches it and oh, it works. What? And then we find out it's because it's his son.
Yeah, but also at least we get some funny Victor Trent stuff in this scene.
Yeah, yeah, he's good.
Including a ridiculous morph sequence.
I think this is the same morph sequence they used last time we saw him, where his face turns into an Andalite.
They used it twice in this episode.
Yeah, in this episode he demorphs later and they do it in reverse.
So there's that. But yeah, he just has some very funny glares in this scene too with the scientists. He does a good job.
Yeah, he's great. He makes some like threats at her too, and there's like a tail blade thing. When he gets zapped and falls over, the eye stalks on his head wobble around like rubber. It looks very stupid. His head just in general, when he's in Andalite form and talking, looks very dumb this whole scene. just fucking wobbling around everywhere.
But again, we have now, like, it's really become firm now. We have full, I don't know if we have the full body in every shot of this scene, but the tail is pretty much always there. He's using the tail, like he's threatening her with his tail blade.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very, I think Visser 3 is I mean, even regardless of Eugene Lipinski, just their handling of him feels the truest to the book, which maybe is because in the book he's also a cartoon character.
Yeah, well, this is the thing that we said in the books, is that like if you're doing a serious Animorphs, you really have to change Visser 3 because he's so goofy. And in this one, they're like, no, that's the part we're keeping, and the rest, and it's good. It's good because it's goofy.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Cut to the Animorphs hiking on a nature trail. Like, what the fuck are they doing?
They're going to find Axe and Tobias because they live in the woods.
Oh, right. That's something that has never been established on this show, by the way. We have never discussed where Tobias might live, what he's been doing.
Yeah.
We have never seen him not doing a mission. Axe has only been seen in the barn or something. Like, none of this has been made clear.
Yeah. Now, why are they going to meet them? I don't know, but they are.
Because that's their friends. Right. Cassie's hair is down.
Hair down alert. Still, where is my fucking orange jacket?
Yeah, I think we got to say RIP to the orange jacket.
I'm getting pissed about this orange jacket.
Yeah, I agree. We miss the orange jacket. I like when Cassie touches Marco's shoulders in this scene. I feel like there's some chemistry there.
I like Marco's hair. It's looking good this episode.
Oh yeah. I mean, come on. Look, his whole outfit is looking good as hell. Even without the orange jacket. I like his it's kind of like a lavender, it's like a purple kind of shirt and top he's got on. It's working for him.
Yeah, very like dull muted purple, not like a
right.
It should be bright, you know.
Marco it's not really lavender. Yeah. And I also like Marco squashes a mosquito and Cassie says, hey, you could have, or I don't even know if it's a mosquito, some kind of a bug. And she says, hey, you could have acquired that. I'm like, wow, I do like that Cassie is doing something that they never did in the books either. We're just pointing out like, hey, you can just acquire everything.
I think this is the second time in the show too. There was that other time where she was just like, I just have a shitload of morphs because I just always acquire everything. Yes. What have you been doing?
Cassie is kind of becoming the MVP here. She's pointing out these things and I appreciate that.
Yeah. There's a couple things. So Jake and Rachel are hanging behind here to talk about Rachel's dad's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they were already hanging behind for anyway. Yeah. There's a couple lines here that again just feel like why did you write this? Like there's a bit where Jake says like I'm sorry and Rachel says like that's all we seem to be saying lately, and is it? Like
isn't it sorry?
Right, yeah. But like what does that mean? That's all we seem to be is that like a thing? The Animorphs have been like hurting each other?
Yeah, that's I mean
There's a bit at the
Yeah.
end where she wants to know, she doesn't know what to do with her dad, and she says, like, "I wish this was multiple choice," and I'm like, "What does that mean?" Like, a lot of these lines feel like, the script said, like, "Insert quippy line here," and then on the last day, he was like, "Fuck, I forgot to put it, so just write something, send it in, fuck."
Yeah, I mean, isn't it literally multiple choice?
Yeah, I don't maybe she like, it
Like,
was a school test that doesn't matter?
I mean,
What.
it may when you don't think about it, it's like, oh yeah, multiple choice is easier than having to come up with your own answer. Like that's
I sure, yeah, okay,
in a
okay.
broad sense, like that's what that phrase means. You're like,
Right.
I wish this was multiple choice, so it was easier to make the decision. But yeah, if you think about it, it's like, well, the choices would be like A, leave, B, stay. Like you do know the choices.
Yeah,
That's what it is. That's what a multiple choice is. You still have to pick one.
yeah. I
It
don't.
doesn't um and what was the other stupid thing she said that she says?
The, like, we've only been saying
Oh yeah,
sorry or
yeah, yeah.
whatever, yeah.
That is a fine line. I think it's just that that's not been established.
Yeah, yeah, no, like, what is it? What I feel like we've asked this about this show, maybe, like, last episode or something, Cassie said something similar, like, "Oh, this is what we've been doing or how it's been," and it's like, "Has it?"
Yeah. Well, this goes all the way back to like episode 2 or whatever when Marco's like,
Right,
I wish I could get 1 week away from these yerks. And it's like,
right.
are, it feels like at this point they've just decided that it's been long enough. They've been doing this a while, and like, the viewers will just assume stuff has happened. we don't we don't need to actually show it. They'll like kind of figure out that the characters did stuff and they are good.
I
They'll cut us
so
some slack.
rereading my notes for this book, for this episode, I do believe this is the first book in which Marco calls Rachel Xena. And
Wow.
if I'm remembering correctly, the book before this one is the book where they say Marco always calls Rachel Xena.
Wow. That's amazing.
Anyway, I'm
Now
just.
now you're making me want to look back to my notes.
Mm,
Here's my notes for book 7.
okay.
The first thing I wrote is morphing with an F. So this was the first episode where we should be doing this as like a fun look back every episode.
Yeah, fun look back.
And my second note was the stranger joke. That was a reminder for me to pretend I read the wrong stranger.
Right, which you sort of did this episode too, but
Yeah, that was a callback.
a callback, yeah.
I also have
Uh,
a note as a Jew, Rachel shouldn't believe in hell. My notes for the book, when you like just looking at them side by side with what I write for the TV show, are so much more interesting. There's so much more like possible discussion from what I wrote. Whereas with the TV show, it's just like Marco's funny. I mean, I wrote that a lot then too, but it was just man, it's really looking at it back at it now. It's very obvious how much more shallow the show is. Um.
uh, um,
Anyway,
yeah, so before we move on from this scene, I'm gonna make a point again that I made about earlier in this episode because I'm gonna bring it up every time it happens. So Rachel has a little bit of a meltdown here and is all like, "Why are we even doing this? What, blah blah blah. The Yerks are gonna da 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 da," right? Because she's all upset about her dad leaving and she's having trouble. Now there is a scene like this in the book too, where Rachel kind of freaks out because she doesn't know what to think. Um, and again, in the books, this hits pretty hard because Rachel is usually, she doesn't show her emotions. She's very like, oh, we'll just go do it. We'll kick some ass. We'll fuck shit up. And now she's kind of freaking out and having doubts. And so the other characters are like, oh, geez, oh my God. And here, Rachel kind of gets like kind of whiny, and Marco's like, "Oh, you're starting to sound like me," and it's like, as opposed to what? I mean, I don't know. Rachel's being kind of whiny. I guess that means she's kind of whiny. That's her character trait now. Like,
well, I think it was. I think he's trying. It's supposed to be more that he is the one who's like, this is too crazy. I don't want to do this. And like now she sounds like the one who's saying,
Right,
I
but like
wish.
I feel like, and maybe it's just because I know the books, the implication when Marco says that in the books is, but like that's my role is to do that. You would never do that.
Right.
Whereas here it's like, wouldn't she? Would she also, maybe she could also do that too? Does she
Yeah. Well,
not do
there's
that? What does
no.
she do?
She just didn't do anything before, and now
Yeah,
she's doing something. So that's why he's surprised.
yeah. So
He's like,
again, Rachel does something. Well, that's her character now. It doesn't contrast her character.
yeah, like at this point, who is Rachel on this show? By the end of this episode, she's a girl who loves gymnastics. She's Cassie's friend, and I guess she kind of likes clothes and stuff too, but
Yeah.
not really to any great extent.
I mean, she kind of likes boys too. She's had a number of scenes where she like fawns over Tobias or Jason,
Yeah,
Nicole, or Jake even.
yeah. Well, Jake especially.
Yeah, yeah, especially Jake. But yeah, I don't know. It's just yeah.
Let's get to these Shorm here.
Oh my god, I fucking lost it. They say like Axe is waiting for us. Immediate cut to Axe in the woods, getting a lasso thrown around him with a musical sting. I lost my shit.
And Tobias is perched on a log or a tree in the background,
Yeah.
which is kind of a nice two shot of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's just a fucking lasso around his neck.
It looks so ridiculous.
Three controllers, each with their own lasso, wrangle him like a steer at a rodeo.
And it's because you do see like a lot of his body in the shot.
You
And
do.
yeah, it's like very well lit. You can see all the
Yes.
detail of how dumb this costume looks. How
I kind of like it.
he's
I actually think it
so
looks kinda
fucking
good.
hairy.
Oh
But like
yeah.
it's just like it's this big hairy weird thing. And it's not in some artificial thing. Something about the fact that he's out in the woods makes it look even dumber. Maybe it's because he looks more like a Sasquatch or something, right? You know, if he's in an industrial thing, maybe he's an alien, but he's out here in the woods. You could, you know, and then you have Axe's stupid nerdy thought speak scream. Like the thing hits and he's like, "Ah, no, Tobias, go get help!" And he's getting it's so fucking dumb.
I mean, maybe look, I appreciated that they were showing this costume in broad daylight. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not a great choice. Like there's a reason they don't
Right,
usually. But I still was on some level, I was like, oh, it is kind of cool to actually be able to see it.
Y-
I
Yeah,
didn't. I mean, you're not wrong to think this is funny, but it didn't. It didn't strike me as being particularly like dumber than any other scene of an Andalite.
I guess that's fair. I mean, for me, it just all the parts came together to be very. But you know what? Like
There's
I do
the costume.
appreciate.
There's
Yeah.
his hooves. There's the whole deal.
I appreciate seeing the whole costume. I appreciate that they took the time to show that his tail got lassoed too, which is why he couldn't
That's
cut his
right.
way out.
Because surely that would like you can't move your tail once there's a rope around the end of it. Just fuck. Tobias couldn't just like go claw the one guy who's holding that rope, and then
no,
he could get him
there's
with his
too many
tail.
of them, Tobias. Go get help.
Right? There's too many of them.
But you know what? I mean, this is dumb and cheesy and campy to an extent that I like. You know, they didn't just like cut away from it, and they didn't like show a guy throwing a lasso, and then they like cut to a shadow of Axe or like a shot of his hooves, and then Tobias is flying away. Like they show it, even though it's stupid. I did enjoy myself.
Why not just have them point Dracon beams? Like, why do they need lassos? I don't.
You're right.
I don't like. They have guns.
You're right. They could just do a like zap Dracon stun thing.
Is that too violent? Is that like, do they not want to show? Is that why the guns are flashlights? Because they can't show guns on kids' TV?
That could be.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
I
feels
mean,
so obvious. Now that
There's
now that
another
I say it.
scene here where that we've talked about before. Later on in the episode, they're gonna have some Dracons, and there's a lion, and they're like, "Oh no, a lion!" and run away because they. Again, we said
Yeah.
just shoot the fucking Dracons. They don't do that.
No, lion's too scary. Now, the other part of the scene that's really good is a little Hork-Bajir head
Oh
pops up
yes.
out of the bushes.
Oh yes. I like this Harkbashir head just because of how, you know what it reminds me of, like, this really does give you like a cheesy animatronic, like, imagine you're on like the Jungle Cruise ride and you're going near the bushes and then there's like a Hork-Bajir head pokes up and looks at you and the guide makes some joke about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be awesome. It's kind of Jurassic Park-ish.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
this could be the dinosaur ride at Disney World, but it's just
Right.
like, yeah, a little. It comes up out of the bushes, then it goes back down when you turn the
There he
corner,
is.
so it can come up again. And then you don't see this Hork-Bajir again for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
It is only there to do what? It just pops its head up and then
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything. Then we cut.
That's all Hork-Bajir ever do in this series is they remind you that they made that head because they're in the books, right?
Somebody had to make this. We're gonna show it once in a while. There it is. It's pretty fun. And that, I mean, the effects in this episode go to a lot of weird places.
Go to a
The
lot of weird places. Yeah.
yeah,
I'll give you that.
the next one being when we see Axe again, it's from behind, and it looks to me like it's a fully CG Axe rendering.
So here's the thing. I have in my notes that this is Axe, and when I got to the end of the episode, I'm like, wait, I think this was supposed to be Visser 3 pretending to be Axe to lure them in.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, because we find out, like, the Animorphs, Tobias gets them, and the rest of the kids are like, oh, we gotta go get Axe, and Axe is, like, fucking T-posing or something from behind. It's very strange
Well,
looking.
it's because his arms are tied to the
Mm,
trees around him. That's why his
okay.
arms are out, because he's like handcuffed to the trees.
Okay, okay. I don't
His
know what that was about, but I did
his
think, like,
tail seems to be free, however. So
yeah, but, like, we do find out later that Axe is actually, like, tied up in a truck somewhere. And in this shot, like,
right.
we have he's, like, T-posing, he's doing his tied up thing, and then the Animorphs get a net dropped on them, and then we get the close-up shot of
Wait, who's
Visser
Annette?
3 demorphing.
Annette Benning?
And so I think the idea here is that was Visser 3, and that's why he is an Andalite to demorph. But yeah, the editing does not convey that Visser 3 wasn't just, like, also here somewhere, because we go from this behind shot of his body to this close-up of his face with no establishing, like,
Yeah.
sense of place.
But yeah, I think I think you're right. But it is
Yeah.
CG, right? Do you think that's a costume, or do you think that's somehow? It looks
I
too.
gotta
It looks completely differently modeled. It's not nearly as hairy as the costume.
yeah,
The tail does not look as fake. Like, it actually looks better, and I think because it's a CG model and not a costume.
yeah, I'm trying to actually
It's
get the
it's
screen
like
up here.
it's like 8 minutes and 40 seconds. You can see it.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, listeners. Just imagine a CG Andalite render from behind.
Yeah, we'll go with it CG for now.
Or it's a model that they blew up. It really looks
Yeah.
like it's like not a costume that was there.
Yeah, I don't think that this was there in the forest. I'm looking at it now. It does look too, I don't know, smooth or something.
It doesn't look the same. It's not the same as the one that you actually see it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but like why? Like they
Yeah.
have the costume with the tail and everything. Why not just show it? Like it's not like this version. It's not like
Maybe
in
they don't
this
have
scene
that
it does
this
something.
I mean, it might not work from this angle. Like you say
They
they have
have
the costume, but it's not like the costume walks around. It might just be like, listen, if you shoot it from the wrong angle, you can see that we just, like, put half a Andalite there or something.
Do you think the back is just like the back of a guy's shirt, like it's completely open? There's no back view of the costume.
Yeah, like they put some Andalite sides on, like, a wooden stall and you just kind of walk into place and
Yeah,
snug in.
right. Yeah, you're probably right. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
But nonetheless, this is when a tiny net falls on them.
They fucking get caught in a net.
A tiny net is a death sentence. It's a net and it's tiny, as we all know. That's a little Kung Pao Enter the Fist reference. which I probably made in the book episode 2, if it was indeed a net. I don't remember.
Yeah, so this is totally different in
Okay.
the show for good reason. Um, so in the books, they wanted to re-infiltrate the York pool. They go down into the York pool as cockroaches. They are in the Yerk McDonald's, which is like filled with Hork-Bajir eating hamburgers or some shit. Or no, whatever. There's Hork-Bajir and humans eating like McDonald's food in the fast food place in the Yerk pool, and a taxon sees them and eats them. And so rather than being caught in a net, they're being digested by a taxon as cockroaches. So you can see why they might have been like, we're not doing any of that. The only important thing is that they're caught in a trap where they're definitely fucked. And it could be anything.
How about this? It could have been a pit. How about a cage? I would have accepted a cage. I will never believe that just dropping a net on someone, that you can't just get out of that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like, so while it's good that they changed it from the book, what they changed it to here does feel like the most generic, I did not have an idea for what to change it to thing ever. Like, what if Visser 3 captured Axe and then dropped a net on them and they were caught?
Yeah. Well, the book also makes more sense because they're the active agents in that scenario, and they got themselves into this horrible situation. Here, after all this time of Visser 3, the Yerks, they don't know who these kids are. They don't even know they're human. They haven't been able to catch them all these episodes. And now in this one, when he finds out about the disc, he's just like, now we got to catch them. So then they do, like, right away? Like, how? How did they find them?
I mean, that is an interesting point because... Yeah, I mean, the idea is that Axe is bait. That's how they found them. Although I don't know how the fuck they found Axe. Yeah, how did they do that? That was you know what? That was a whole plot in the books. They were like, Axe must be in the forest, so let's fucking log the entire forest. Because they don't know where he is. Yeah, that is a good point. I was just thinking though, like, yeah, they set up the plot like, oh, I need Andalite DNA to get this disc. So I guess that means we got to go capture the Andalites. That's what means we got to do it? I wasn't going to bother otherwise, but now it's pretty important.
Yeah, we never tried before this. We just were kind of fucking around.
I don't know.
It's very silly.
But yes, like Visser 3, listen, Eugene Lipinski does a great job with his line where he's like, oh, struggle all you want, you'll never escape from that net. But, like, they won't. Like, he doesn't, it's like, oh, you came here in your human forms. Oh, we can't demorph because then he'll know we can't morph into something to escape because then he'll know we're humans. So presumably they could, if they were Andalites, they could just demorph and cut this net open, or they could morph and then morph into a cockroach and escape. Like, it's just a net. Or is this, because like, you might think, oh, maybe it's some techno net, like their special flashlights, but no, later on, Rachel is just going to cut her way out of this thing. Like, it's just a fucking net. Why is Visser 3 so sure they can't? It's insane.
Yeah, he does not question at all why they aren't morphing.
No.
There's
you struggle all you want. You'll never get out, so...
They are hiding their faces from him. I mean, this might be the first time, though, that Jake or anyone has actually stated out loud on the show that they don't want them to know they're not Andalites.
You might be right.
You know what they could use to get out of this is some Kuhatch steel. Sorry, I've been
little teaser. Ooh, I wonder where that came from. What might that mean?
Just what might something that for mean? You. All right, now let's get to the actual plot. Meat of the episode that matters.
Yeah, everyone's over here like, oh fucking god, they're an hour and a half into the Elemist episode and we haven't talked about the fucking Elemist at all. How did this happen?
Meanwhile, I'm like, wow, we're only 90 minutes in. We're doing great.
Oh my god. The Ellimist shows up. Time freezes, the net disappears, and the Ellimist shows up. Just like in the book, except that they were being vored in the book.
Right. Yeah, so the Ellimist, now, again, I know some of this stuff was not really solidified at the time of this book.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is just being taken from the book, because he does refer to himself as an Ellimist.
Yes.
But, so what also we do get human Tobias here. So
Mm-hmm.
congrats, Christopher Ralph. You get to be on the show for the first time in 10 episodes.
Yay! Now we don't get Axe here. In the books, I believe Axe
where's
was here.
Axe?
He's over in the truck. He's been kidnapped. Fuck him. Ellimist doesn't care about him.
It's stupid. Okay, fine,
I actually
whatever.
do think it's a problem, but we'll get into it.
So the Ellimist, as he appears on this show, is essentially the Force ghost of a middle-aged man with a bad haircut.
That is not how I would have described it, but it is correct.
I mean, it is Marco even makes a joke about Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He does say it's Obi-Wan. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But he actually looks like the original, the actor who played Anakin in Return of the Jedi, the Force ghost.
Does.
He looks a lot like him, honestly.
Yeah. Nobody knows what that guy looks like, because you have to be a despecialized head to have seen that.
Right. Not fucking Hayden Christensen.
No.
I want to say his name's Sebastian Shaw or something. Is that true, or do I know that?
I don't know.
I want to know if I know that or if I'm making that up. Sebastian Shaw.
This is the part everyone loves.
Yes, I was right. Sebastian
Hell
Shaw.
Yeah. God damn. Can't stump the buff.
That's right. That's one of 3 Darth Vader actors. 4 if you count Hayden Christensen. Anyway, because James Earl Jones was the voice,
right.
I don't know who was someone else was the body. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know that one's name. Anyway, I'll stop showing off now. By the way, that's a real Monopoly guy joke. You know about the Monopoly guy jokes? I
don't know about the Monopoly. Is this relevant?
Yeah, it's relevant.
Okay, tell me about Monopoly guy jokes.
This is something that I believe was coined by Dan Harmon on the Harmontown podcast, but it's a reference to the Ace Ventura 2 scene when the guy walks in looking like the Monopoly guy, and Ace Ventura goes, "Oh, you must be the Monopoly guy." And the criticism is that this is a bad joke, because the only reason he looks like the Monopoly guy is because the writers wrote, "A guy walks in who looks like the Monopoly guy," which is very lazy. You just wrote your own setup. It just feels very, nothing. And I believe that criticism is valid here when Marco goes, "Hey, you look like Obi-Wan." It's well, yeah, you literally made him look just like Obi-Wan. It's kind of I don't know. I feel like it's not a good get.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought you were gonna. I was gonna say, what are you talking about? You're the one who made the Darth Vader thing. But I mean, yes, in terms of he has the Force ghost see-through thing, and he's blue.
There's no mistaking it. It's exactly like a Force ghost.
Kind of got fucking Jedi robes too. I mean,
yes,
I was thinking he looks like. I mean, he looks like some kind of holographic projection or whatever. But yeah, he does.
Too.
Yeah.
Don't the holographic projections in Star Wars kind of look just like Force ghosts?
They kind of do, yes. But yeah, he also has Jedi robes for sure.
He's fucking Anakin.
Also, I do think the delivery of a joke is more important than the substance, and I love everything Jim Carrey says. It's always funny.
Listen, I love the Monopoly guy joke. I'm not going to tell you I don't think it's funny.
This is the part where you can cancel our podcast because we still like Ace Ventura despite everything.
No, I just said Ace Ventura 2. We talked about the other one.
Okay. I like when he makes faces. What can I say?
I mean, we got to just talk about the Ellimist here. What do you
really?
How does this vision of Ellimist jive with your? I don't remember how he's exactly described in the first book. Is the problem?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that this is that off. I mean, he's described as being blue. I don't know if he's supposed to be see-through. I think he's got like pointy elf ears and he looks like an old
Mm,
guy. Um, yeah, I think that what is most off about this is more like the vibes and presentation, right? Because when I
mhm.
look at this guy, right, I do get like the way he talks, the way he comes in, he looks like maybe advanced alien hologram or something like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I imagine this guy is like, oh, these guys are sitting on a ship and he's beaming himself in. I don't imagine this guy as some kind of like, when I say advanced alien, I mean like Norse god. I mean, he's got a trickster god. I can stop time not because I've evolved to be so powerful that I can just do it, but because I've got a button that I press. You know what I mean? Like his technology looks like technology that's hyper advanced and not like, oh, technology so advanced it looks like magic to us. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like he's got
Yeah.
Star Trek vibes and not God vibes.
Yeah, he should look like a wizard, like a
Right.
Gandalf, but he looks
Yeah.
like a Jedi. He just looks like a dude in a raggedy ass robe.
Mhm.
There's no elf ears, there's no beard. He just
Yeah.
looks like a fucking guy. And why is he transparent? I think that makes it very strange. I think that effect
Yeah.
is confusing.
I think so too. I think the lack of axe actually kind of hurts here because in the books,
Yeah,
here the humans are just like, oh, some alien is talking to us. In the books, we get axe kind of cowering, like, what the fuck? An Elemis? That's not even a real thing. That's a fairy tale monster, right? Like,
totally.
that. Why is he not here to do that?
Yes, that
Power
that would
could sell
be
that.
extremely. Yeah, and you could easily. He doesn't need to be in the vicinity. You could just get him in there.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
in
it's
in the books, this happens in the Yerkpool where they're morphed as roaches. Tobias is still there because the Elemis just teleports him in, right? And he's like,
right.
"What the fuck? I was just outside. I'm here in the pool with you."
Now, in their defense, at this point in the series, truly no one had
Yes,
any fucking clue, including K.A. Applegate, what the Elemist was going to be.
right. Yes,
So they did kind of have to just be like, I don't know, let's just do what the book says, I guess, and
yeah,
we'll figure it out.
yeah. I was wondering because she fleshes the Elemist out in book 26, which would be 2 months after this episode airs. I'm wondering if the people who wrote the show were just like, I don't know what the Elemist is. I'll fucking make something up. It sort of looks like the book. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then, they read the book 26 and they go, well, fuck that. I guess we're not doing that. I didn't set that up.
Yeah, yeah, they didn't know. Kay Applegate wasn't telling them either. They weren't talking to her.
Yeah, no way.
Why does he look like a projection? Like, why
Yeah,
can't he just be a guy who's there? It doesn't make
yeah,
sense. I have the power to transport you to the future in a couple minutes, but I can't make you see my full body clearly? Like, what
yeah.
the fuck is that? Stupid.
And the voice is also an issue because, he he's got this echoey voice, but it's this like authoritative British sci-fi voice. Like he sounds like you might imagine some British guy in like a cheesy old sci-fi who's supposed to be an alien guy. Like there's a big difference between like I want to have advanced alien comes down and says your ignorance makes me ill and angry versus like and then Jehovah comes down and bellows out something to you. Like the sound design on those
Mhm.
two things is different. And this is the former, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's really it's very the whole thing is very underwhelming in its presentation. It
Yeah.
does not it should feel like holy shit, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy what's happening. And it just kind of feels like, huh, there's a guy here. Huh? Like speaking of going back to Gwen's email of what was the appropriate gravitas,
Yeah,
that is
yes.
not here at
No,
all.
it is not. Yeah, when we read the books, I remember you were fucking losing your mind. Even just hearing me recap the plot, you were laughing your ass off. Like, what the fuck is this? What's happening? They're like traveling through inside out alternate dimensions outside of time, and there's this god being. What is this? I feel like if this was your first exposure to the Elemist, you'd be like, oh, I guess that. Remember that one shot where there was a crazy advanced alien who showed up for one episode and doesn't matter? Like, you wouldn't
Yeah.
think this was some world-changing lore.
No, you're just, it's just confusing. It's just purely confusing, and not in a way like, oh, I just watched Primer. I'm just trying to think of a confusing movie. It's and like, whoa, my head is spinning. You're just kind of like a dull, huh?
Mhm, mhm.
That's all there is. Huh? What was that? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Oh well, moving on.
yeah.
Also, I thought there's a commercial break here, halfway point of the episode, folks. um, and I thought it was a really bad when they return from commercial break. Uh, Marco just goes, "Oh, is that all?" But they don't like replay the previous line. So if you were cutting in halfway through, you'd have no fucking clue what Marco was referring to.
Yeah.
Just very sloppy.
There's some I don't have it written down, but there's some line Jake says, like, a minute after commercial break where I almost felt like this is a better place to break on. Like, this line Jake just said almost feels more weighty, and it made me
Hmm.
wonder if they just, they didn't they were like, "Oops, put it in the wrong spot."
Yeah, maybe. That's when the clock ran out. That's when commercials have to come. Cut it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Does Elemis kind of now that I'm looking at him, does he kind of look like an older version of the Tobias's actor? They sort of have a similar face and haircut.
God damn, maybe listen, there's a lot of weird Time Matrix Elemist shenanigans going on with Tobias. Maybe in the show, the Elemist is Elfangor's son.
He really does look like a 1960s Doctor Who,
Yeah.
or like what's his name, Arthur Dent in the BBC Hitchhiker's Guide. Like
He does.
he really has that like BBC just. We don't. It's England. We don't need the person to be attractive.
What
We
did
just get a
this
guy.
It's England, we don't. What did you say this guy did before? You were saying he was in some stuff. He did, like,
He was the voice of the Daleks.
Yeah, he was the Daleks guy. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that no
Yeah.
wonder. This is a
Yeah.
BBC guy.
This
Yeah.
it totally is that guy.
Because he really does have BBC vibes.
And please don't misconstrue that, listeners. That's, there's only one interpretation of that
Yeah.
you should have.
You should know what BBC stands for.
Okay, so look, we get into it. He tells them, "Hey, I can rescue you, and then like, I can put you all on a different planet, and the humans will live on because the Yerks are gonna win here." And that's all the same as the book, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, that's basically all the same.
I did it's a little different here, or at least the context is different, because they're like, "Oh, will you be able to save Tom?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll save Tom." And Marco's like, "Oh, will you be able, what about my mom?" And he's like, maybe." Because we have yet to establish anything about
Yeah.
Marco's mom other than that we think she's dead.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I feel like in the books he was just like, yeah, sure, I'll get your mom. And here, I guess maybe you're supposed to think like, oh, he's not sure if he can raise the dead or something, as opposed to interfere with your plan. I don't know. I don't know
But
what
why
I'd
would,
have to check.
if Marco thinks she's dead, why would he even ask that?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good question.
they clearly just took it from the book and forgot, oh right, we never did that yet. Which is
Yeah.
kind of bad. Okay, so then
Yeah.
cut to few. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like we should be speeding through some of this
We
now.
should. I mean, there's a couple things that I miss from the books here, but yeah, I mean, we do need to speed through. We need to speed through. But Rachel is like, it's kind of weird that Rachel does the whole like, oh, we could have no more fighting, we could be with our families again thing here. Whereas in the books, I feel like it's not till later that she has this. I guess this is supposed to tie into the thing with her dad. Again, it would work better if that worked. I
Yeah.
don't know.
At this point, this is happening. I've already forgotten that that's the plot of the episode.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Um, okay, but anyway, so now we see future vision.
Yeah, they're in like Mexico or Nigeria or something.
Well, yeah, well, future, it's the future because there's a yellow filter over everything,
Right.
which,
Yeah.
which is also the universal filter for Mexico
All
in
right.
movies. It's
Right. It's
always
not
yellow.
America. That's what we know.
But and it's like it looks like there's in like a rock quarry or something. I don't know what. There's just rocks everywhere.
Yeah, so I mean, in this part of the book, we get a relatively long scene where they like wander through the ruins of their old neighborhood. They see like skeleton of their teacher in a classroom, and eventually they start seeing like taxon pools. Um,
We
and
don't have time for that.
no, we legitimately don't have time for that. I do think this is one of the issues here is that I don't think we get a lot of impact here because I don't get a sense of place, right? It's just like, oh, sky's yellow and there's rubble everywhere because the Yerks won. Okay. Right? Like I don't get this sense of like this is the place that they were in. I don't see any familiar landmarks.
Right.
I don't see like people that remind me of the people that I see walking around in the mall, but they're all controllers now. There is an issue where the familiar landmarks are the woods, the industrial building, the Art Deco house, the barn, and Siberia. So I don't know. They didn't
Yeah.
establish that. But also just
Yeah.
like this emotion of like, oh fuck, everything is fucked and we've lost is kind of something you have to linger on for a long time. Uh, and I don't know that you have time to do that in a 24-minute episode of TV.
No, you really don't. Honestly, they should have cut. I wish they just didn't even try to do any of the Rachel stuff. Like this should have
Hmm.
just been the Elemist. Like they
Yeah.
just start with and they capture acts and capture them, and then you just the whole episode is this,
Hmm.
and it's much better probably.
Yeah, I mean, I already would have said, how in the fuck are you doing the Elemist episode in one part? Like, regardless, like, I
Mm.
don't care how much you cut, right? Cut the Rachel's dad divorce thing. I don't care. Cut the bits where Rachel gets a bear and goes into berserker rampages. I don't care. How are you doing the Elemist in one episode? Where you
Yeah,
have to
why?
explain this god thing, you have to put these weird time travel conundrums, they have to go to the future. How is that not a two-parter?
Why does the capture merit a two-parter and not this?
Yeah,
It really makes no sense to me.
yeah.
I mean, both episodes should have just been you just cut out the first half of the book and just do the interesting stuff.
Even the
This
books,
is
I feel like it was a common thing that we said reading the books, like, boy, this book would have been better with like 100 more pages because there's too much
mhm,
shit in it.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's not what they did. It's we have to live with it.
Mhm.
We have to live with this yellow filter. We also have to live with what I would say are PS1 quality graphics of a bug fighter.
I think it's a
Or
blade
maybe
ship, but yeah.
it's a blade ship. Okay, it's the blade ship. I mean, literally, like you can see the jagged edges
Mhm.
of the pixels on this thing as it flies over.
You know what? I don't mind it. It looks dumb and it doesn't look good, but I kind of like it. It's fun.
Well,
What I don't like is the Yerk
yeah.
pools on the ground.
Oh, that are just like, are they red? Yeah, they're just like red.
Yeah, they look like
There's
shit.
not. They just look like big puddles that aren't even really there.
Yeah, they look really like painted on. Like, it's one thing for the bug fighter to look painted on over the sky. It's another thing for a pool on the ground to look painted on over the ground.
Yeah. Now there is one landmark we get to see in the background, which is the EGS tower
Yeah.
with a giant Kandrona beams that's shooting all over the
Yeah.
city.
Which makes me wonder
Um,
if they're setting that plot up. Because, the EGS tower was a big part of the plot of this book. And when they showed that here in this episode, I was like, they do not have time to do this. How the fuck are they going to do this? And of course they don't, but
yeah, it's there. They mention it by
yeah.
name.
So they might
And,
do it in another ep.
and the background to me looks like it came straight out of a inside cover of a book. Like it has that same
Mm.
kind of art style, like 90s CG quality to it.
Mattingly core.
That's right. So here's what I was going to say, coming back once more to Gwen's email about like the good kind of bad and everything like that.
You know what?
And
Gwen's off my shit list for saying that we're in her top 3 because she was really helpful to the discussion this episode.
sure. I mean, I would have said this regardless. It's just now I have an anchor
Right.
point, I guess. But anyway, I do like just like you said about the blade ship. Like, does all this stuff look shitty? Yeah, sure. But
Hmm.
it's also would I prefer, and I think the answer is yes. I think I'd prefer instead of just, oh, we don't have a budget to make it look good, so let's just do, let's do an episode where they're just at school or
Hmm.
whatever and like shoot around the stuff we can't really do properly. I kind of like the approach that's basically the Doctor Who approach of just, well, we want to do all this crazy sci-fi shit. We wrote the script. They do this. There's aliens. There's robots. They go through time. There's a spaceship. Well, we only have $50. All right. Well, we're gonna fucking do it. It looks fucking stupid, but we are gonna do it, and it's there. And there is something kind of refreshing about that in this episode. That's like, yeah, it looks like shit, especially now, but it's like this is a proper sci-fi
Hmm.
thing happening, and it's not just vague, oh, look away from the camera, maybe there's an Andalite, maybe there's not. So I kind of like that approach, and I sort of I'd like to see them just go for it. Like, don't worry about if it looks like shit. Just
Yeah.
fucking just do it. Like, again, very like the Hitchhiker's Guide BBC adaptation. I feel like all those things have that feel where it's like, yeah, it doesn't look good, but it's like you're doing it. You're doing the thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
the difference between this and like all the Hork-Bajir shit that I hate in the regular show is that in the Hork-Bajir stuff, they act like the Hork-Bajir are doing something, but then all you see is a foot or a head. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like here, I do get to see the ships. If the Hork-Bajir were just a guy in a suit, right? But like he ran around, I would like that a lot more.
Yeah, right. Yes, it's like it's fine if it actually if
Mhm.
everything that happened in the books happened in the shows but just looked bad, I think we would think it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I like when I get to see Eugene Lipinski's face morph because it looks dumb as shit. I don't like it when he's supposed to be fighting Axe and they just whirl the camera around and cut every quarter second and blur it so that you can't see anything.
Yeah, just if you just replace that with just give me like an awesome PS1 graphics Mortal Kombat fight of two blocky Andalites,
Yeah.
I'd be all for it. So
Uh,
at least there's that. Even if the Urkpools look kind of silly, there's that. Old Rachel shows up.
yeah, again, we don't have time to sit in this emotion of the future's fucked because legit we don't have time. So immediately Visser 3, Victor Trent shows up, old Rachel is here, and they're like, here we are.
No reason for him to be a human right now, but that's fine. We don't need to dwell
He
on it.
loves being Victor Trent. He just loves
Okay.
this morph so much. He's a human lover now and not just an Andalite lover.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair.
Yeah.
Older Rachel, who, as we've said, is played by some lady.
Sherry Lee.
Right. Sherry Lee, we roll along.
Right. Roll along.
Shirley Taylor. Huh. Interesting.
Oh, Jennifer
Interesting.
Taylor. That's right. That's how it was
Oh,
pronounced. I
no,
remember
it's
now.
Jessica. It was pronounced
Jessica Taylor. Jessica Taylor. Sorry.
I guess she does a fine job considering her assignment is to play the future version of a character that's completely undefined.
Yeah. And
Like, how
act
do you do that?
alongside Eugene Lipinski as like a dumb over the top villain. Yeah, sure. Okay. She's goofy and over the top.
Yeah, it's not even that over the top though, is she? She just kind of is like, "Hey, I'm you."
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the way she speaks, like if you listened to her, she doesn't sound over the top, but a lot of her facial expressions are like very exaggerated. I think she's doing something here at least.
Does she kind of have an accent? I couldn't. It almost sounded like she's doing a British accent or something.
I'm
I
not
don't
going
know.
to listen to it.
She's just doing like an evil voice, I guess.
Hmm.
She's like doing a little "Hello, it's me, evil Rachel," like that kind of a thing.
Yeah. They do keep the part where they ate Tobias. I liked that.
That's great. Yeah,
Although
that's great.
Yeah, in the books it's a lot more horrifying because you take the scene more seriously because they're not hamming it up for the camera. Here it's just goofy and fun, but I like that
They're-
they kept it.
There's also not really, they don't really like cut to Tobias when they say that.
No.
He doesn't, we don't know how he feels about this.
Yeah.
Presumably not great.
Yeah.
But I really love when Victor Trent says, yes, I had him with some barbecue sauce. He emphasizes Q. It's very good. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. Anything else we need to say about the future?
So they do cut out, and this is probably for the best, even though it makes things a little confusing. There's a lot of stuff in the books where the timeline doesn't quite match up, right? Where, like, it's like, oh, they go here and wait, it's not the right number of Animorphs, or something's different, or Rachel remembers them being here and then survived, so the Yerks can't kill them because then things would be different. Um, and the plus side to that is that there's not enough time in the episode already. It confuses everything else we're trying to do. And in the books, it kind of didn't make a whole lot of sense, some of the inconsistencies they had. The downside to that is that in the books, that's one of the things they latch onto as a, oh, so wait, maybe this isn't the definitive future, right? Maybe the future can be changed. You know, I saw the future and I know it's going to go bad, but maybe it won't go bad. And here it's like, why exactly is it that Rachel's going to come back and be like, but we could still change it, right? Like, why does she think that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. She's very much has a Ebenezer Scrooge moment. She's like, spirits, tell me,
Yeah.
is this the future that must be, or the future that may be?
Yeah. Oh, importantly, when they zap her back, she grabs a knife and tries to stab herself. It's important she has that knife.
Her future self, to be clear, not her,
Oh,
not her
right,
own
yes.
body.
Right, her future self. Yeah, she's not just like, oh, Tobias has been eaten, I shall cut out my own heart.
This is the first episode, though, of the show where we get to see Visser 1. I should have said that. That's pretty major.
Hmm.
This is the first time we get to see Visser 1, who's a pretty big character in the books.
Right. Because, yeah.
Because Visser 3 is now Visser 1.
Is now Visser 1, yeah.
In the
that's also
future.
true in the books, but...
Yeah, right. Well, we've already seen Visser 1 in the books by this point.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Do we know what older Rachel is? Is she a Visser?
I feel like... actually, I don't think we do.
Oh, well.
But I don't
Yeah, she does grab this this knife of presumably Kuhatch steel.
Okay, you've already done that.
And she has it. And then she takes it, it's back in the real world when they transport back, which is important because that's how they get out of it.
Right. So okay. So but first the Elmist is going to say, "Do you accept?" Jake has changed his mind. They're all going to accept, and Rachel makes some impassioned speech, and they all change their minds and they decide they're going to stay here. I think that this also, again, I don't know how you do this in a single episode because I think you really lose something here. In the books, they all just say, "Oh, I guess the future is that way and we're fucked." And you know what? I accept Elmas, take us away. And then the Elmas just doesn't do that. And he waits for them to figure out that they're supposed to say no. And then eventually they say no and he goes, "Okay, I accept that." And I think you lose something by getting rid of that. Like, you know, there's a whole thing later where it's like, oh, the Ellimist must have wanted us to say no because he gave me the knife and I'm going to cut my way out of the net with this knife. And it was all a trick because he wasn't supposed to interfere. But it really hammers home the idea that this is some weird, untrustworthy, nothing he says can be trusted, but maybe he's benevolent, but he's like a weird fucko. when you just say, "Okay, I accept," and he goes, "Okay," or he doesn't even say okay, he just disappears. You know?
Yeah, in this version he's just a genie. He's just a guy who's helping you, I guess.
Yeah, like if Rachel hadn't made that impassioned speech, then like would he have just said okay and taken them to the planet? Like there's not a sense here that he's
Yeah.
playing them.
Right. And yes, there's never a there's never a moment where you really think they might go the other way. I
Yeah.
don't I mean, you just don't have that same level of like stress
Hmm.
on these characters at this point.
Yeah.
It's not perceivable in the same way it is in the books.
But again, a huge part of the problem is that we have to talk to the Ellimist, and then we have to like have the whole conversation. Then we have to go to the future. First, we have to set up the conundrum they're in, and then okay, so after we get back from the future, if they're going to accept, and then time's going to pass, and they got to figure it out. That's more stuff, right? This needs to be a two-parter if you're going to put that in.
Oh, Rachel, great Scott. Fuck, never mind. I can't do
Just
I
do
can't
fucking
do it.
Rick.
I can't do a Doc impression. I don't. It was just
Uh,
all right. Rachel. I
yeah,
was gonna do it. God damn it! It's not. It sucks.
it's
I want to.
okay.
I
It's
really want to
okay.
do it. I really
I
want to do the
know.
joke, but I can't do an impression.
I'd give you a pat on the
Rachel,
head if I were there.
Rachel. Something's got to be done about your kids, Rachel. They're inbred, Rachel. You and Jake, you shouldn't have kids, Rachel. That's what it is. All
Uh,
right. Anyway, in most cases, cousins, there's a very low chance of birth defects, so
right, yeah.
it's
It's
actually
totally
fine.
fine.
That's fine. I thought it was okay. Whatever. Well, you said enough about that stuff. Then they they get out of the net. I really liked Rachel's using the knife to cut them out of the net, and somebody, I don't know who, Jake maybe or somebody goes, "That's it, Rachel." like like cheering her on, like, genius, good, you're doing it, Rachel. That's it.
Yeah, another writing moment. There's a bit later where Rachel's like, "Looks like all that survival training I did, like, I paid off or
Oh
something."
yeah,
And it's just
oh
like,
yeah.
what, the survival training that told you could cut a net with a knife? I never would have known how to cut through a fucking. I've never held a knife. What do I do with this? Good
Oh my
line, good
god.
writing.
It is. Also, assuming they can't throw this net off of them,
Yeah,
I think it would take way too long to actually cut holes big enough to escape before Visser
yeah,
3 just got there.
yeah. He would just get there.
it's it's so ridiculous. Like a little knife
Yeah,
is probably the worst defense.
yeah. I mean,
Everything about this net is fucking
the reason
stupid.
that a net is going to catch you is because it's weighted down with things that weigh more than you because you're a bird and you don't have hands to just like move it because you're a bird or something like that. Speaking of birds, it is very
Speaking
funny.
of birds.
The instant they cut back to the net being on them, Tobias doesn't shut the fuck up because they need you to know he's back to being a bird. They don't want you to forget that he turned back. That's right.
Yeah, there's some good Tobias scenes. First, he goes after Visser 3 in what is clearly a green screen shot. I'm not really sure why. I guess they just took a shot of the bird flying and then Visser 3 like falls back.
He
It's
does a good
weird.
fall. I think Eugene Lipinski was born to get beaten up by animals in cheesy TV and movies.
Sure. Sounds
He's
like there's
good
a
at it.
dog there right now.
There is a dog there right now. Homer is always around. He was barking earlier too.
Yeah, well, that's just our listeners have come to accept that. It's part of the charm now.
Yeah,
Uh, um,
we
but
all know
then
his trainer and that.
Tobias is, keeping all the controllers at bay, and I like that his method of attacking people is consistently to perch gently on their arms.
Yeah. Well, then he flaps his wings a lot, and they go ah ah.
But it's so clear they're just holding their left arm up for him to come to, and they're just going, oh no. And that's like the one place he lands to attack them.
Mm.
It's very silly. Visser 3, they escape, and Visser 3 of course yells Andalite, which I know you loved.
I loved that. Yes, I have a note about it. I mean, I also love when he's just like on the ground with Tobias, and he's like controllers, get them. It's good.
He does good. I loved when Marco's gonna drive a car.
Oh yeah, because so they split up after they escape, and Rachel and Marco find the truck Axe is in, which means
Right.
Marco gets to drive.
No, they don't. they don't really do anything with that, do they? It doesn't. It's not like a
Homer, shut
funny.
up.
There's not. You need Brian Renfro over there, man.
That's what I need.
Like, there's no. Marco doesn't do a bad job driving, so they don't really pay it off. But it's whatever. It's still fun.
Mhm.
I
I mean, he crashes into something.
Does he?
Yeah,
All
he
right.
like backs up into some trees or something. He also, there's some good scenes where some controllers have to like be like, "Oh no, the truck backed into me. I fell over."
Yeah, right. Okay. And this is where we see the scene we mentioned before where they all run away because a lion is just standing there.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though they have guns.
10 guys with fucking Dracon beans run up, and then Rachel's there. There's some, you complain a lot about like the background dubbing, and there's some funny things here where they dub in the guys yelling like, "Ah, a lion, a lion!" It's good.
Yeah, it reminds me of the trailer
Run!
for Cloverfield.
Hmm,
Remember that?
not really.
Back when the first Cloverfield trailer came out, it didn't have a title attached to it.
Yeah, I
Remember?
remember
It just
some
had
of
a
the stuff
date.
about it. Yeah,
And it was a big viral thing like, what is this? And then
right.
someone thought that in the background, I think someone yells it's alive or something, but people online thought maybe they were saying it's a lion, and people thought it was going to be a Voltron movie because of that.
That I do not remember.
Yeah, that was one of the theories going around, was that it was a Voltron movie.
God damn, that's funny.
That's good. That's classic internet marketing. You don't get that kind of fun anymore. Now they'd be like, it's a lion. Oh, maybe it's an Animorphs movie. That could be Bongo or Caesar.
Caesar's kind of like, it's kind of like the monkey Caesar from Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah.
There's
How
probably a
so?
parallel I could draw there, right? Anyway,
The same name. I think you did it. You drew that parallel.
or Caesar Catalina, maybe.
Sure. Caesar Romero. Julius Caesar. Caesar salad.
Let's wrap this fucking episode up. Rachel's at home. She's reading some kind of horror book.
Well, not it's Dracula.
Is it Dracula? I
It
couldn't
says.
see. Where does it
Yes,
say it? I like went to it and I couldn't fucking see it. Where does it say it?
It is very dark, but
Okay.
it does say at the top of the book, written in a blood font, Dracula.
Okay, thank you, because I could not. I like backed up a couple times and I was like, the cover of this book is like fucking black.
Well, it is a very strange.
Oh,
Maybe your
Jesus
brightness
Christ!
needs to be
Yeah, I
turned
can
up.
see it. Okay, yeah, okay.
But it looks like no cover of Dracula that has ever existed anywhere. Like, I guess Dracula's public domain, but the cover art is not. So they had some intern do like a DeviantArt shitty fucking. It looks terrible. It's like a red circle with a little guy in it. And then the lamest blood font Dracula at the top. It looks like a shit version of Dracula.
Yeah.
And why is she
Not
reading?
great.
Like, what does that have to do with anything other than, oh, it's horror like my life? There's no thematic relevant. She could be reading fucking Body Snatchers or
That's
something.
literally what it is. Her dad's like, don't read scary stuff like that or you'll get nightmares. And
Yeah.
she's like, with my life? Ha ha ha.
Right. Which
Yeah,
to
why is it
her
not fucking
dad,
Body Snatchers?
her dad hears her say that, and he's just like, I guess her math tests are hard. Like, he doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about.
She's a fucking melodramatic teenager. They say shit like that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Rachel's dad's car, by the way, looks really shitty.
Well, that's why he needs his new job.
I guess, but he's still like, for even a part-time news anchor, I think he could afford 4 doors. This thing looks like a piece of shit.
It looks fine to me.
Yeah, I know. You're like, holy shit, it moves? Damn, this guy is fucking loaded.
It's fine. It's just like a random ass car.
It just looks like an average junky car. I feel like he should have a nice car. He's like a
Well, because he's a
successful
local
TV
news anchor? No, he just has a
Well,
regular ass car.
I don't know. That's like a little less than regular ass. It looks kind of shitty.
It does not look that shit.
This is the 90s, remember. People could afford things when they were adults back then. You could afford a nicer looking car at this point. I mean, it's Canada.
It looks fine. It looks like a
listeners-
normal ass car.
It looks like it's a little beat up. That's all I'm saying. It just 2 doors. He's got a family. How's he fucking
He doesn't
driving
have a
his?
fucking family. He's divorced. He bought this car after he
Okay,
was divorced. He lives
okay,
alone. He only uses it to take Rachel places. He doesn't give
okay.
a shit about Sarah. Maybe
I
Sarah's not
will,
even his kid. I don't know.
I will grant it to you only on the basis that Rachel's mom took all the money in the divorce, or I mean, she's a
She took the
lawyer, so she,
four-door car.
right. I guess she has a better paying job than him, probably. So
I mean, yeah, she's a fucking lawyer.
yeah. All right. That's the only reason I'm allowing it.
What, you think the like 5 a.m. local news guys are rolling in the dough?
He's not 5 a.m. He didn't say he was a 5 a.m.
Well, he didn't say he wasn't.
I think in 1998, if you were any kind of TV host, you're probably doing pretty good. I think you were probably pretty comfortable.
I just don't know. It looks like a totally normal car to me. Anyway, the important thing here, though, is that there's a song.
Right. Okay. Well, yes, that's very important. There's a song.
Yeah.
So, yes.
We talked earlier about how they don't have soundtrack for moments like this.
Right.
So,
but every once in a while they realized, oh, we need a little juice.
Right. Mm-hmm.
In this final scene, Marco and Tobias show up.
You don't want to talk about this song because this is another Eden White
well,
song.
Well, I know, but isn't it the song plays under this scene? So I thought we'd just explain the scene first.
Okay, yeah. Because I think it starts with her and her dad, but you're right. It does keep playing, so you're right.
Yeah. Well, now you just blew it. You just gave it away.
Well, it's a fucking okay. Fine, whatever.
There's no more build up now. Why can't you need to
just explain the scene?
Me. You need to just sometimes let me talk and just trust that I will get us where we need to go.
I don't know about that.
This is why we're not Shorm.
I think the fact that we still do this podcast proves we are Shorm. Tobias
and Marco, as I said, I think are about to fuck Rachel in this scene.
I have a number of notes here about, Marco's sitting up next to Rachel on the steps, and Tobias is over in the cuck branch, the cuck tree. Some notes about him flying. He flies away with the two of them still there, and I'm thinking maybe he's going to get the video later. My brain was going places with Tobias in this episode.
As it should. But yes, okay, all right. The song, yes, it is another Eden White song.
Mm-hmm.
It is called "Let Me In."
Mm-hmm.
It is from the same album as the other one.
So is that like related to the Dracula? That's why they picked Dracula?
That, yes, even though I'm pretty sure this is a decade before Let Me In came out. And isn't it the original one is Let the Right One In? It's the remake that's Let Me In?
Yeah, I think that is correct.
Yeah, 2010. So, but yes, I'm pretty sure that is a reference to that. I did not. Now, the other last Eden White song we talked about, listeners, you remember, if you don't, go back. I listened to it a few times. I listened to this one once and it didn't sound as compelling, or it was just kind of like a very similar song. Mm-hmm. Same exact tone,
mm-hmm.
Same vibe. I guess they had a deal with her. Maybe someone on set was her friend, or they're like, look, we need music for the show. Well, you have the budget to buy the rights to one CD. Choose wisely.
Right.
Well, we're going to get our money's worth out of this one.
If they do a third one of these, we're going to have to do Eden White on the Patreon. You know that, right?
Yeah. Well, now that you've said it, I guess it's true.
I'm just letting you know if it keeps happening.
So I don't know. I like the other Eden White song better, I think, but they could have used the same song. I mean, it makes no difference. The exact same. It might as well be the same song. The vibe is 100% identical.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know if it was better because it was the first time last time, or if this song isn't as good, or if like the moment was better because it was centered around Jake, who's a better actor than Rachel. I don't know. Maybe just the moment of Jake calling Tom is in and of itself more sentimental than Rachel being like, I think we did what the Elemist wanted all along type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole scene is very lame. I mean, the capture was a much better episode and it was a much more interesting moment
Hmm.
and it was also a two-parter. It felt more earned to have that moment with the cheesy music. And here it's just
Yeah.
I don't know, Rachel and Marco are snuggling. Like sure,
Yeah.
Tobias is watching from his tree. I get it.
I mean, I guess it's supposed to be because of the dad thing or something, right? Like, oh, she's not going to go with her dad after all. But I don't care about that storyline. So,
Yeah, I don't even remember it. I
Rachel
forgot.
here, can I just say, Rachel has some very bad line deliveries in this scene.
Yes. No, yeah, it's bad.
It's really fucking bad. Like, when she's like, I think we did what the Elemist wanted all along. And it's just the most. It's the most like I'm just reading this off a piece of paper, and she's doing this thing with her fucking eyes. That's like it's like Tim Heidecker playing Decker. It's insane. It's like who fucking told you that's how you should make your face look?
All right, come on now. Let's be a little nicer. Come on.
All
Brooke
right, all
Nevin is a human being, even if she doesn't know how to pretend to be one on TV. I do think there is actually a cool shot here, though, of
Mhm.
Tobias flying towards the camera. That's pretty cool. Like the camera actually moves and
Yeah.
swoops down, and then you see him fly up in front of the camera. That's. I wonder if they planned that shot or if they did
Mm.
a lot of takes to get it because it looks way cooler than most of the show.
Yeah. I mean, legitimately, that actually is like blocking a trained bird with a camera movement. You have to try to do that. You can't just do that unless they did.
Yeah.
Unless they were like, "Oh shit, the bird did something cool. Fuck, we're using that take." God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah, because there's also not really a reason for Tobias to leave in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, where's he going? They're like in the middle of a conversation.
Like I said, he's getting the video later.
He just saw
Ruin the mood if he was there.
he just saw some roadkill and he had to bounce. He does say like jokingly in the earlier scene, "Oh, I was just starting to kind of like the taste of rats or something or
Yeah.
vermin."
Yeah, something like that. In that scene, Tobias also, he was speaking like Keanu Reeves. He has a couple of lines there that he just does so deadpan that, which maybe isn't bad because he's supposed to be a bird and losing human emotions or something, but I just don't know that it actually
Yeah,
works.
he's got kind of a Keanu vibe.
Yeah.
I feel like that fits his character.
Yeah, not unreasonable.
It's also the fact that Tobias is a human too. Only Rachel kind of cares. Nobody else even gives him a
Yeah.
second glance in that scene. Like they don't give a shit.
Yeah, and even Rachel, like, she gives him a hug and she's like, "Oh, Tobias, you're human." Right? She doesn't, like, she doesn't emote
Yeah.
over it.
All
Yeah.
right. So, look, the fact that they did this episode, I did kind of think like they
Mhm.
had to do that. Like,
They do.
you can't. I mean, okay, you don't. There is a version of the show where you just forget the Elemist. You could do that,
Yeah.
but
Somehow you need to bring Tobias back. I'm
right, that's the
assuming
problem.
Mr. Elamist here is coming back because we finally see Tobias as a human. That establishes
Right.
the Elamist as the guy who could do that. That's what happens in the books. It's gotta happen.
If it were me, maybe at this time, and I were a producer on the show, I might have said, let's just have like maybe the disc gives him the power, and that's what the disc does, and we don't have to fuck around with this Elemist shit because we can't possibly convey that.
Yeah.
That might have been a better choice, but they did it, and it's it's not like I mean we've spent 2 hours shitting on it, but it really isn't. At least the Elemist parts of it are done about as well as I think you could expect or hope for from this show. And I don't mean that like disparagingly,
Mhm.
really. I mean, like, yeah, he looks goofy, but it's all the core beats are there. A guy
Mhm.
appears and freezes time. He shows them the future. He's a mystical being of some kind. It pretty much plays out the way it plays out. So, like, that's, it could have been worse. It's
Yeah.
really just it's the Rachel stuff that's dragging this whole thing down, not the it's the opposite of what the problem should be.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is that I do also think the vibes are off, but I don't think
Yeah.
because I think the way that you fix that is Slightly, not necessarily like less cheesy, just like different sound design, and like
Yes.
literally put him in a Merlin costume and have him wear blue face paint, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That would
sure.
be better. It would be better vibes, but yeah,
Give him elf ears.
and give him elf ears. Yeah, you could do it equally shittily and still have that work. But yes, Rachel's acting not great. The writing around that not great. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't really come together.
I still think the biggest issue is directing, editing,
Hmm.
and mainly I bet you could do a pretty good like fan edit of this show, honestly.
Mm,
Like if you just change the music and
yeah.
some of the cuts and scenes that feel too slow or awkward, I feel like you could do so much better for this show even without changing any of the script or anything. They
Hmm.
just dropped the ball on the like, I think that's what the vibe issue is that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that is part of it. That is part of it for sure. I mean, unfortunately, I do think also part of the vibe issue with this episode is that it needs more time to breathe. So I need, like, I can't add that in, but yeah, or at least the Elemist part does. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it doesn't quite come together. The Elemist stuff is not that bad, but just not what it probably should have been. Um, I do think
yeah.
some of the writing is bad, but you could cut like Rachel's voiceover at the end. Oh my, it's like fucking. She's like, well, I guess we all learned that even if we leave behind or even if we leave with the people we love, we'll still miss our home. Did you learn that? When did that come up? That wasn't in your impassioned speech. What is this? Why did you have to? What again?
Yeah.
Write a sappy outro in which she learns something. What did? Get rid of that
She
shit.
she learns something because she has to, not because she actually does. It's
Yeah.
just
That's
they
not
just
even what
get
was in
there.
her speech, by the way. Like her speech was like a trolley problem thing. It was like if we leave, then the Earth will be conquered because we left. But if we stay, then even if we lose, it'll be because the Yerks did it, not because of us or some shit like that. Which is fine, but it has nothing to do with anything else that's happening. Nothing to do with her dad. Nothing to do with this ending thing. Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm. That's a real shame.
there's a lot of issues with this episode.
Yeah, and yet again, not the worst episode.
No, it's not. Axe gets lassoed. There's some bird action with Eugene Lipinski. You know, could be worse.
Yeah. Yeah. This you know what the show really needed was the volume.
The volume.
That's what they call I think other shows maybe use it now, but I think they pioneered it for the Mandalorian show where it's just basically a giant stage, but the outside is like just a giant blue screen or the inside I should say, like all the walls are blue screen. So they like
Mm,
create sets inside of it with like real props and furniture and like real stuff, but they're able to make it look very realistic and like they're actually on Tatooine or whatever, but it's really just a giant blue screen because like the actors are
yeah,
really there in front of it and stuff. Um, and that kind of thing just if you made this show today, you could stretch things like a future apocalypse vision or a Yerk pool so much farther than you could back then.
yeah,
They just didn't have the means in Canada to like
yeah.
show you a wasteland.
We only have one pile of rubble. I cannot show you multiple shots because there's only one angle.
Canada
Uh,
is too utopian.
do you think this pile of rubble is from like the same worn down place where they shot the industrial thing where Axe was, only they put a yellow filter over it?
Probably. Yeah. I don't know. All right, well that's the stranger. The stranger.
That's that. We did it.
Episode 12?
Yeah, that's it.
Interesting that it comes so much later too than in the books, which is probably fine. I don't really have an issue with that other than some of the weird stuff
Hmm.
like Marco's mom being mentioned.
Yeah, no,
But
I don't.
anyway,
You can put the Elemist anywhere as long as it's before.
right.
You would think you couldn't put him everywhere because he should fundamentally change everything going forward, but he kind of does. I mean,
Right. He does and he doesn't. I mean, the real loss of
yeah,
putting him later is just to lose not having Tobias be able to do stuff.
Right. Yeah, you would really want to move book 13 forward, but
Yeah. But anyway, I guess we did it.
we did it.
Another one in the books, so to speak, or should I say in the episodes.
Yeah, we're gonna make that joke every time, probably.
I never
Jesus
made that
Christ,
joke.
how did we go this long? Fucking. Oh my
It's your
God.
fault.
It's not my fault. It's your fault.
Yes, it is. You were
did
late.
it. So we started late. The episode is long.
Exactly. If we started on time, it wouldn't have gone long.
I don't think that's true.
Yes, it's science. Let us know, listeners, what you think about this week's episode or any other, theyerkyboys@gmail.com. Sign up for our Patreon page if you like the show. $5 a month gets you 4 bonus episodes, one every single week, where we discuss Animorphs and Animorphs adjacent content. This week on the Patreon, we'll be discussing the 1994 adaptation of Robert A. Heinlein's. Oh, no, wait, that's not Heinlein. Who wrote that? Is it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
It is a
yeah.
Heinlein. I get them all confused in my head because there's so many different fucking versions of this story. It's the Puppet Masters. It's the film version of the Puppet Masters from the 90s. We're going to be talking about that.
So that's pretty exciting. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. Don't
Nor
know.
have I.
We'll see. And you can follow me online. Check out the show notes if you want to follow me on Blue Sky or my website, jonathanesses.com. Check it out.
Yep. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Tune in next time when we'll be talking about Season 1, Episode 13, The Forgotten, in which, do we really think Jake turns into a jaguar with a Sario rip?
Whoa.
On the Yerky Boys.
Holy shit.